Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
In the words of one of our very smart producers, Earl, on the next episode of the Cleveland Browns.
It's a disaster.
So here we go.
You hate to see
6-3. We were talking yesterday about home field advantage.
Yeah,
You've got the biggest game coming up on Sunday when they host the Steelers, and Deshaun Watson's season is over. We told you yesterday about the MRI on his ankle. Not much concern here.
Right.
What we didn't know was that he was also, at the same time, having an MRI on his right throwing shoulder. And from what we're told, this is a completely different injury from what he suffered earlier in the season, the microfracture tear to the rotator cuff. This is a displaced fracture to the glenoid bone. And let's go right to Mikey McNuggets for an exact description of what the hell that is.
Yeah, so I looked on WebMD because I'm not a doctor. But WebMD is as close as we can get, and I confirmed this with Dr. Jesse Morse, who's going to join us on tomorrow's show to give us a long-term picture of Deshaun Watson's injury. But according to WebMD, as confirmed by Dr. Jesse Morse, a glenoid fracture occurs when there is a shoulder dislocation or shoulder subluxation, and the ball comes out of the socket. As the ball dislocates, it can push against the rim of the glenoid socket, causing a fragment of the bone to
Yeah, the bottom line is he's out for the year.
Done for the year,
You know,
of course.
That's
He
it.
needs
It's a
surgery. They're
disaster.
scheduling it now.
But they have to do this. They have to say that.
Yeah.
Because these quack conspiracy theories will start right up talking about chemtrails and why Deshaun Watson was hurt the whole time. He wasn't
And
hurt.
it's not really Deshaun Watson. He's actually
a
Darrell
clone.
Revis.
Yeah, no, he got hurt a second time.
Yeah.
It's not the same injury. It's not a conspiracy. Cut it out right now.
Yeah, Andrew Berry was very clear. That was a question that was posed to him during the news conference. Did this have anything to do?
Yeah.
Was this a result of him playing hurt? It was a clear and definitive no. We have to take them at their word.
Thank you.
We certainly didn't examine his shoulder. We have to take the team at their word when they tell us that. Makes perfect sense. Mike, you believe you have found the play in which the injury occurred.
We do.
Andrew Berry said sometime in the second quarter. We think we have it.
Yeah, Jake Burns tweeted this out, so shout out to Jake Burns of the Orange and Brown Report. But this is the play that, according to Andrew Berry, matches up with the timeline of what happened. You can see Watson scrambles and is going to take a hit from Patrick Queen right in the shoulder.
Yep.
He bounced up. Didn't look like anything happened in the moment. He popped right up. Didn't really shake off his shoulder. But this appears to be and matches the timeline Andrew Berry described.
Yeah.
The play where Deshaun Watson.
And that makes sense.
Remarkable that he played that second half with a broken shoulder
As well
and
as he
an
did.
ankle.
As well, he was 14-14.
I mean,
Well, listen, the thing about him
Amazing.
is the toughness thing, like that.
Yeah, let's put those
all
rumors
of that
to bed.
can go
those
to
were
bed.
already put to bed, but this is another level.
But because I think, what is it, Tom Pelissari's report said he was ready to get ejected for the rest of the season
Right.
to continue
In
playing.
fact, Mary Kay asked Andrew Berry if that story was true, and he did say yes.
So
And
that,
you know,
that
and by
lets
the way,
you-
that's a
sounds
play- that's-
like a guy that wants to be out there.
That's a question that a player would ask. You know, when they're told, when they
course.
tell you we got to shut it down for surgery.
I
In his
did.
mind, he's thinking, "Wait, I just played the best half of football in the last couple of years. Shoot me up, I can get through this."
And I don't want
Clearly, no.
listen, I'm in one of those moves. If you wanted to do sit at these cubicles and you got a sore throat and you don't go to work, shut the hell up. I ain't talking. You can't talk on football.
Yeah,
You
this
sit
is
in
next level.
So you sit in your cube, hang out, and let the doctors tell who's who. We're gonna shut that down right now so we can get that out of the way and talk about what's really going on here.
And we'll
Now,
get the
Mike-
Andrew Berry press conference. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, real quick, we have a little breaking news, and we're going to get back to this in a sec. But Jordan Schultz of Bleacher Report, who is pretty credible, just tweeted out the Browns are planning to start DTR at quarterback this week versus
That's
Steelers.
the right
barring a
move.
That's the
last-minute
right move.
change.
I was going to suggest the
PJ
same
Walker
thing.
would be DTR's backup, which we'll get to all of that coming up here. But just so
I-
people
I
know we're not
believe that-
missing the news. This is
No, I'm glad that
happening.
that's out there.
Yeah.
Jordan Schultz, great job. I think that's the right play.
Absolutely.
We've seen enough of PJ. Well, 1 touchdown, 5 interceptions.
That's the thing. So what is the one thing? How the Browns have been playing this whole season? What's the one thing that's killing them? Turnovers. So
Can't have them.
You can overcome any game if you just have a quarterback that don't turn the ball over. Your defense is playing well. The running game is going well. All you need is a quarterback that's going to take care of the football, and you still have a shot to win every game. So I think the DTR, although he had 3 picks in his first start, I think that you give him a game plan, you let him go through the whole week.
He didn't prepare the whole week.
I think it'll be better.
You know, the bottom line is, no matter who they replace Deshaun Watson with, whether it's one of these 2 guys for the foreseeable future or somebody, and we'll go through some other names maybe, they can't win the Super Bowl. They can't.
I'm not ready to. I'm not ready to go that far yet.
I got to see it first. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know yet. I don't know.
I saw Nick Foles beat a really good Patriots team.
Yeah, we can bring up all the anomalies we want.
Well,
I don't know.
So when you say you can't, that means 0% chance.
So would you agree their odds took a significant hit?
Yes.
Full of course.
Yes. That's
there
my
is
point.
a slim chance.
That's my point. And that just sucks.
It does
we
suck.
were just talking about yesterday. Home field advantage and all these great things, and it's finally coming together. And I have never believed in curses my whole life. My rational brain knows curses are ridiculous. But I woke up, I said to my wife when I saw this news, I was like, I may start finally believing that there are curses. This is crazy.
Well, from the chapter that, we can't have nice things, it seems like the trajectory of a Browns fan, really a Cleveland sports fan, is you get taken to the brink of euphoria.
Yeah.
And then the floor drops, and then you fall to the depths of the valleys of the lowest low that a fan can feel.
Pretty much.
And I honestly feel in the last 48 to 72 hours, that is the cycle that Browns fans have gone through. When I walked in, you immediately looked at me and said, "You look crushed." And I said, "No, I'm built for this." Browns fans are built. We're used to this. Like if there's one thing that Browns fans know, it's adversity.
Yeah, but you're still crushed. Yeah, how could you not be crushed?
No, listen, it's very, very defeating.
Yeah.
Very defeating. In reality, we weren't the favorites to win the Super Bowl, guys.
No.
We saw that we had a chance. This is crushing if you're 9-1 and you're the favorite to win the Super Bowl.
I don't agree.
We're not.
I disagree with that.
There's 4 or 5 teams in the AFC
I disagree with that.
that has
I
a
completely
legitimate
disagree.
chance.
I disagree
I mean, there
with
are
that one.
holes on this roster. It's not like when you look at the Eagles and you look at the
There are
Chiefs,
plenty of
even the
holes.
Chiefs have holes. But what I'm saying is, yes, it's disappointing. But, and by the way, Andrew Berry must have grown up on Mulberry Street. Oh, well, we view this as an incredible opportunity.
Ain't no opportunity.
No, this is not an incredible opportunity. This is the scene from The Office that's the meme where everybody's running around saying it's happening and there's panic. I hope someone's reaching for a phone right now and making phone calls. And they said they're going to get a backup another quarterback in here.
Yeah.
But this nonsense that he kept repeating, we like the room right now. Now,
What is he going to say, Jay?
Bull,
I don't know what he's gonna say.
Jay is
don't lie to me. Don't
What do you want him
spit
to
in my
say?
face.
What
and
did you
tell
want
me
to say?
anything. I'll tell you what I wanted to say.
Tell you?
Guys, here's the reality. The quarterbacks on our roster that are able to play have 1 touchdown and 8 interceptions. Now, granted, I dealt away a guy who currently has 11 touchdowns and 5 interceptions.
There's not a person on the planet that
I
would
know
ever
he
say
won't.
that.
I know
Ever.
he won't.
Nobody
but
would.
you have to come up to this conclusion.
I'm
what
gonna
we
give
have
you
isn't
my
enough.
Of course it's not. But
And he
he's not gonna
says, yeah,
say
we're going
that.
to add a quarterback.
I'm gonna give you the dumbed down version.
Yeah.
Listen, we got PJ in there. We got DTR. They've done a nice job so far. We like what
They
we
haven't.
have.
They're 1-8.
But
1 touchdown, 8 picks. We've won in spite of that.
We understand that. And then he pivots and says, but look, we have a great roster. We feel that we have a
like
Super
the
Bowl
room.
defense, and we're going to do everything that we can in our power
Yeah.
to go out and get a quarterback to add to what we have.
What
Well,
he
they
said
said
in the
that.
press conference is meaningless. He's not going to shit on players on his team.
That's
He's
what
not
I'm
gonna
saying.
do
Like,
that.
y'all
No,
got to
Bull,
cut
you
that
don't
out.
have to do it.
The
Bull,
way
y'all
he
gotta
said
cut
Jay was
that out.
shitting on his players.
What he
That's
has
not-
to do is say what we all know.
You're going to go
The
get a
quarterback of
quarterback.
this
He's-
team
wait a minute.
for the rest of the season.
He said that they were going to add a quarterback.
Yeah,
At some
he did.
point.
Okay.
We like the room.
Okay, so I'm gonna go out
He
there and
said that
just tell
16
my
times.
players that
No.
they're not good?
No, obviously, you can't tell me you like that room. Because if you do, then I have to judge your assessment of talent.
I think
now look,
you looking too deep into it.
DT. Look,
You
he's
too deep into
the guy
this.
that has to decide if what we
I
have
know,
is enough.
but who cares what he says in a press conference? I want to go back to what you said about not being devastated because they weren't the first choice. I think that's crazy.
They're not the first choice.
It doesn't matter.
They're not
Who cares if they're the first choice? They
There
were
are-
a contender to win the Super Bowl. Bottom line.
There
with
are a
Deshaun
lot of
Watson,
those.
They were a legitimate contender to win the
Agreed.
Super Bowl. They were one of the best teams in the league. They had beaten
If you want me to crumble and cry, I'm not
I'm
going to
not
do that,
wanting you to
Bull.
crumble
I'm
and
not.
cry. I'm just saying to say, well, it's not that big a deal.
I didn't say that.
No,
I didn't
but to
say
say
that.
it's not
But
devastating
when
because
I
they're not
walked
number
in,
one.
When I walked in, the first thing Tyvis said
Yeah.
was, "Look at the devastation on your face," and I said, we're used to this. We handle this kind of stuff. Now, again, I took it to the next level and said, we're not 9-1 here.
That's irrelevant.
We're
Nobody's
6-3. We could easily be 3-6. You know how the
They could
NFL
easily
goes.
be 9-1.
They could. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
However, if you're honest with yourself,
Yes.
and you're handicapping the teams and the chances that they have of winning the Super Bowl in the AFC, where were the Browns yesterday?
So let me ask
if you're
you.
handicapping them, are they one?
I had them 2 in the AFC.
No kidding.
Yes, yesterday,
Wow.
2 in the AFC.
So here's what
behind
I
only
did.
the Chiefs.
Here's the thing.
Wow.
You got a defense like that, and you can play like that. They've gone on the road to beat Baltimore. They've played well against teams that in the NFC that people think
They beat
are
San
good.
Francisco.
They played against. They beat San Francisco.
Who else right
played
now
against
besides
Seattle.
the Chiefs would you have ahead of them?
Bull.
Right now.
Bull.
You said right now.
Yeah, I still think, even though they haven't done anything, they haven't beaten any good teams, Miami still scares me. I still would have to say Miami
You
is a
think
team that they have
Miami's
to look out for.
favorite than the Browns? Why?
No, I think that all of these teams are pretty much
I
thrown
know
into
that,
a
but
bowl.
I'm saying the
Thrown
Browns.
into a bowl.
But that's what I'm saying. The Browns,
Bull,
had as good a chance as anybody to win a Super Bowl.
Wait a minute, can I say something?
No, I disagree
Yes,
with
they
that.
did.
No, as good a chance as anybody means you have them as the favorite. Maybe co-favorite, but you have them as the favorite.
They were my second choice.
Okay.
In the AFC.
That's you.
That's as good a chance as most teams.
Go ahead.
Tyvis, what's up?
All right, so I just want to speak on the Andrew Berry thing.
Yeah.
About the press conference.
Right.
So typically how organization works is that they might say some stuff in the press, but like the conversations is all kept internally.
Of course it is.
So it's like, of course he's not going to tell us exactly what's on his mind.
But you don't have to lie to us.
He's not lying. He didn't lie.
He likes the quarterback room.
He has no
No,
choice.
Because again,
he has no choice.
Tyvis,
Guys,
I've been in this game for 35 years.
choice,
I
Jay.
understand what coaches can and can't say
Jay,
in public.
he has
but,
no choice but to say this.
But Tyvis, when you lie to the fan base,
He's not lying.
He
Every
likes the room.
GM lies
He has
to the
no
fan
choice
base.
but to like them.
Every
right?
GM lies to the
You know
fan base.
how, but this is the thing. He likes them so much that he's about to go add a third quarterback.
By the way,
that's what I'm trying to tell you.
yesterday-
Like,
Well, he needs to.
I mean, if he would have came out and said, you know what, we like our room and we're not adding anybody.
Well, no, he
then
has
that's
to
totally
just for
different.
pure numbers.
But
He
I
can't
like
he
my
can't
room.
go forward with 2
You got to be able
quarterbacks.
to
You know
read.
that.
Can you read through the lines? I like my quarterback so much that I'm going to add a third
in Vegas,
quarterback.
by the way, the Browns yesterday were plus 2,800 to win the Super Bowl, which was, and now they're plus 5,000.
Where was that?
They were 10th.
Okay. So again, Bull, it's. I just don't think that it was. Look, it's demoralizing.
That's their opinion, just like this is my opinion.
Vegas, look, the money's usually right, not always, but
Right.
usually
But
right.
that changes
and,
every
and
week,
Bull,
Jay.
honestly, if we're being honest with ourselves, and that's what we try to do every day.
Yes.
I like this team a lot. I really do.
Yeah.
But when push comes to shove, I think somewhere between 5 and 10 is about where they are.
The Browns could beat anybody in the AFC.
100%.
They can, and there are a lot of other teams that can beat anyone in the AFC.
So you're in the
But
party.
they were
So,
one of them.
I mean,
That's-
so
the
you
way
in the
we
party.
describe the NFL is any given
No,
Sunday.
but there's-
they're definitely in the party. So
There's
for
only
that
5
reason, it's,
teams in that party. 5 or 6.
Well-
and the Browns were one of them.
well, that's a third of the AFC.
But for most of their history, they were never one of them.
I get
That's
that,
a big
Bull.
difference.
We
I get
talked
that.
yesterday about
But
this
again-
weekend being the most anticipated regular season game or one
Facts.
of the most anticipated
Yes,
regular season
and-
games
and
ever.
by the
So
way, the
that's why I
Browns-
think
true.
people,
If the Browns
if
would
they're
have beaten the
crushed, it's
Steelers this
fair.
weekend, they would have moved up to 7th or 8th in the odds.
Gee, if they were 9-1, would this feel different to you? It would to me.
To me, that 6-3 that they got right there because of what they went through and how they weathered the storm and the way they were trending with Deshaun Watson, that 6-3 is a 9-1.
100% agree. 100%
San Francisco
agree.
misses a chippy.
Hey, we taking that.
That's
No,
every
listen,
game,
I
Jay.
understand
Every
you're
game is
taking that.
close.
But
You
what I'm
can't
saying
make
is,
excuses.
there's levels to 6-3. There's levels to 9-1.
But here's
and I think Vegas is appropriately.
But
Wait
it
a minute.
changes every week.
Wait a minute. Let me kill that. Minnesota won a lot of games last year off of stuff like that.
And you know what? Over a larger
And they was
sample
what?
size,
What was
it
they,
all
9?
comes-
What was they, 10 and
It
0?
all
10
comes
and
out
1?
in the wash over time.
The idea of
it does.
So I'm just saying,
cherry-picking
you
games they
can't really
could've lost
use
is
that
ridiculous.
example
This
because
game-
Minnesota was just
the Browns
that,
were
and
as
they
good as
weren't
any
that
team in the
good.
AFC.
Where did you have the Browns?
There's only one team with more wins than the Browns.
Would you
Kansas City.
now, listen, I'm not talking about heart or TV talk show. You got a pile of money in your pocket, and you're
Okay.
going to put it on one team to win the AFC. Now, this isn't your heart. This isn't your fandom. This is your wallet, and I know how much you love your wallet.
Oh, yeah, I got paid today.
I know you did, and kudos to you for chasing that cash down. That's an inside story. We won't get to it on the air. But honestly, if you had a pile of money,
Who would I put my money on to win the AFC?
yeah, where was it going?
I would never go against Kansas City.
Okay. And realistically, you're right.
You can't.
Now they're flawed this year.
They are.
They have their
This is
issues.
ridiculous.
However,
The idea that
to make me Boy,
I
you're
switch
trying
it.
to talk me into being more
I'm
devastated.
not trying to talk you into anything.
I'm not.
The idea that we're going to be more upset because they were 8-1 versus 6-3 is ludicrous. The Browns
Would
were
you
a really
be less
good team.
disappointed if they were 3-6?
Of course, because they
Then
had
it-
no
then it's not
chance to
ludicrous.
win.
You're saying
Yes,
there's levels
it
to
is.
this.
There's levels. There's teams that can win the Super
Right.
Bowl and teams that can't.
And the
That's
Browns
the only two
could
levels.
make it
Yes.
to a
That's
Super
the
Bowl.
only two levels, Jay.
Right, but
and the
Bull-
Browns were in that level. That's it. No
You're-
other levels matter.
So for someone who used
Yeah.
to be a cheerleader and try to pump up the fan base,
Yeah.
today you're trying to throw all of
I
this
am
acid on us
not.
and say you should feel
That's
awful.
not what I'm doing. I'm just saying thought your argument that 8-1 versus 6-3 is ridiculous. I'm not telling anybody
Guys,
to fry
the
in their
Browns,
soup.
we're
It's not
arguing
ridiculous.
minutia. We're
You made
arguing
my
minutia
point.
here.
In my opinion, it is.
We're arguing minutia here. Let's get back kind of on topic of losing Deshaun Watson, what to do next. First, I got a FanDuel read, though, because we got to get our reason today regardless of what happens with the Browns quarterback. And FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook score right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. It's $150 if your team wins. So if you think about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right now. The app is easy to use with a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL, official partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Before we go to the replacement, there's another reason why the sky hasn't fallen. You mentioned our biggest win of the season, perhaps. I mean, Baltimore's right there with it, was San Francisco. Who was our quarterback that day?
Philip
PJ
Walker Jr.
And how did he play?
Garbage.
And who won the game?
The Browns.
So we've done it against the NFL's elite.
But
Why can't we do it against the rest of the schedule?
It's the statistics. If you do a dangerous job, yes, you may come home safe one day, but there's always a chance, day after day after day after day, that you're going to have something happen because.
But
the
it can
statistics
be
say-
done. We saw it.
But I'm playing the statistics. The way I want to look at this thing is,
got a 22
when you talk about leadership is about making decisions and having guardrails. The Cleveland Browns did not have any guardrails at the quarterback position.
No argument from me.
Because they thought that they could get rid of guys. And the quarterback position is different from an offensive guard.
Agreed.
You have to have a blueprint. You have to have a way of doing things. Josh Dobbs is valuable. And the reason he's valuable is he went from starting from Arizona to starting in Minnesota because other teams had value and they understood the value of what he brought to the table. The Browns didn't understand.
That's a fact.
So now you have P.J. Walker and DTR. Now I agree. DTR, I'm gonna start over him over P.J. Walker. But here's the problem. I now have to go look at 85 other guys in that locker room that is playing their tails off, that playing hurt, and their season is laying on the shoulders of a rookie.
63.
63. They're laying on the shoulder of a rookie.
Let me ask you this question.
He went back to college. for a
Last
minute.
week,
He did.
would the Browns have won that game with DTR against Baltimore?
Very unlikely.
No.
Okay.
DTR
Very
played Baltimore
Would
the
they have
first
won
time
it with
around and lost
P.J. Walker?
28-3.
No.
Do you think they would have won it with Josh Dobbs?
There's a chance.
There's a better chance.
I think Dobbs is a little better than those guys, but we still need to be
Guys,
realistic.
wait, let's quantify
And
this.
they made a mistake
Let's
trading
quantify
Josh
it,
Dobbs.
though.
Don't get me wrong.
But let's quantify a little better. The combined quarterback numbers of the two quarterbacks on the Browns roster: 1 touchdown, 8 interceptions. Josh Dobbs has thrown for 2 different teams in 2 different offenses with 2 coordinators and a different set of wide receivers. 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. The judgment that was made by the Cleveland Browns after training camp was over, that DTR was a qualified backup and they could move on from Josh Dobbs is coming back to bite them.
Especially because they didn't, listen, every team with a high-paid quarterback has a, let me just finish, has a low-paid backup, without exception. There's no team with a highly paid quarterback that has a high-paid backup. So I understand them letting Jacoby Brissett walk because you're not paying.
He would have cost more.
You're not paying $8 million.
Exactly.
Right? But Joshua Dobbs was only making $2 million.
Right.
There are plenty of backups on good teams with a $2 million backup. I'm not asking them to have an $8 million backup, but a $2 million backup was reasonable. At the time,
I don't think it was done for money. It clearly wasn't.
Well,
There's very little
I don't
difference
know.
between he and DTR.
At the time, none of us thought anything of it. But that's not our job. Our job is not to be the general manager
You're right.
of the football team. And they clearly erred.
And
Well,
Bill, that
I
is
don't-
an insurance policy. The backup quarterback is an
That's
insurance
right.
policy. So if you buy a Maserati and you drive it off the lot without insurance and a semi-truck comes and T-bones you, that's on you. That's your loss.
But I actually have a bigger beef with them. My bigger beef is not even trading Josh Dobbs.
I agree.
It's that they didn't address it
I
at the
agree.
deadline once Watson wasn't
because
agree.
then they knew what the
They
issue
knew.
was.
Exactly.
And
They
they
knew.
knew that there was a problem.
Yes.
And at that point, and to your point, when you say you don't drive a Maserati, if you buy a Maserati in Cleveland, understand that Maserati is not going to be used for half the season. It's winter. You ain't got nothing. You got to have you a backup, pickup 4x4 to do what you need to do. And my thing is, I got a problem with his rhetoric because it's just not the fact that he's saying, I like the room, Tyvis. It's the fact that he's been inactive in periods.
And that's completely fair.
that's
His
gonna
first
come back
mistake
to
was
him.
letting
completely fair.
Dobbs go. He compounded that mistake when he didn't get a quality backup quarterback in here 5 weeks ago.
They tried. They just didn't want to.
Well, we don't know.
They tried.
They
Carson
didn't-
Wentz.
they didn't
Carson
want-
Wentz is with the team
No,
now.
they tried to trade for Jacoby, but they didn't want to pay that price.
Let's
for
do
him.
this,
You
guys.
could have gotten Dobbs for a 6th-round pick.
Let's try this. Let's go around the room
Yeah.
and let's each give a name of who we're bringing in here. Bull, you can start. Who you calling?
I have a list of 10 guys. But let me.
All right.
You
While
go,
you
Tyvis.
look at your
last.
list, I'm going to give you my name so you can all laugh at me.
Now,
I'm calling Tom Brady.
well, obviously.
I'll call him too.
Okay,
Obviously,
so I
he'd
guess
be
you're
the
not
first
all going to
call.
laugh. Okay,
He'd
good.
obviously be the first
Good.
call.
So,
He's going to say no.
listen, he may say no,
But I
but
have to
here's
call
what we
him.
know about Tom Brady. Here's what we know.
He likes challenges.
He has never been ready to retire. Never. What better way to bookend your 7 Super Bowls? How many has he
Winning
won?
one with
He
the
has
Browns.
7 right now.
By coming back
8.
and winning one in the city that can't win one.
Here's what I'm doing. I'm calling Tom Brady 1. He's going to say no, but I'm calling him.
Gotta call
Then
him.
second, I'm calling Matt Ryan to try to get him out of the broadcast booth. Now, he's not as good as Tom Brady. He wasn't very good last year. Threw a lot of picks. However, he still threw more interceptions than picks, even though he threw a lot of picks. And he completed
More touchdowns than picks.
More touchdowns than picks. And he completed 67% of his passes, which is really good.
And really,
on a bad team.
in this offense, that's what we need. We're not a vertical team.
No.
However-
short passes, high percentage.
Assuming those two guys say no, which I think is the assumption.
Which one's more likely to say yes? I think Matt Ryan. I do
probably.
too.
Then I'm going completely outside the box.
Okay.
I'm looking for a guy who at least may still be a great athlete that I can have run and do kinds of things. Colin Kaepernick. It's insane, but I'm calling.
I brought his name up a couple of weeks ago.
And
You
I
guys
said it was
killed me
That
for
boy
it.
don't-
I
that
said
boy-
it was insane then. It's still insane
That boy
now,
don't
but I'm
want
bringing
to. That
him.
boy don't want to play football.
RG3, Cam Newton, Malik Cunningham. He's on the Patriots practice squad. Ran for ridiculous numbers at Louisville.
Right.
I think he ran for like 2,000 yards in 2 seasons. Okay, the best quarterback in the XFL, Jordan Ta'amau, is a runner. The best practice squad, the best quarterback for the USFL, Jamar Smith. I don't even know what college he went to, but he was a good runner too. Or Ben DiNucci, who was on the Broncos practice squad and was the second best quarterback in the XFL.
I remember
this
Ben
past year.
DiNucci.
Let's go.
It's
We got to
only-
get aggressive. I don't want Trevor Siemian. I don't. If I'm
only
going to
like,
get a stiff white dude, I want Tom Brady or Matt Ryan.
I'm about to say,
If not, I'm going to the athletes.
Who are you calling, Ty? By the way, you didn't mention Nick Foles.
I didn't. I don't want Nick Foles. I don't want stiff white dudes.
I mean, when you talk about
I mean,
the backup that won the Super Bowl, I know it was 6 years ago, but he's still, in NFL terms, he still has gas in the tank, you would think, at least by his biological age.
He doesn't fit the Browns' description of quarterback.
Bruh. At this point?
I'm just telling you.
At this point,
just
the
telling
two that do?
Just telling
So
you.
you want to just keep with the two that do?
Hey, listen,
well, this is what we're looking for.
He named like 3 of them that fit the
I bring
description.
So who are you bringing in?
Cam Newton, RG3, and Kaepernick. Bring them all in, see if any of them can play.
I mean, you talk about turn back the clock, but okay. Okay, it's your answer.
RG3 claims that
I know
he's
that he
spoken
runs up.
with teams.
Yeah,
They'd be interested, but he'd be a distraction. Well, he wouldn't be a distraction here.
I look at Cam Newton.
I look at Cam Newton.
Now, who's the one call you're making, though?
Oh, Tom Brady would be
Okay,
first,
so
but
we all can agree Tom Brady's on speed dial.
yeah.
But now in the world of realistic,
Cam Newton, even though his arm is shot.
Man, Cam Newton last time I saw him throw, couldn't throw it 10
awful.
yards.
He was
Couldn't
shot.
throw it 10
He
yards.
was
His
And
arm
I don't know
shot.
if he can run much anymore. Like, is
I
he
don't
still
think.
an athlete?
And I just don't think they're going to do that. I don't.
You'd have to try that.
So we'll all have Tom Brady. My number 2 would be Nick Foles. Then I guess
Why
your number
Nick
2
Foles over Matt Ryan?
because in the world of fairy tales and Mulberry Street where they're
does it
living,
again.
this guy did it 6 years ago. Now, for whatever reason, Nick Foles in his career was just a great backup. He was the guy that you called on to come in relief. Whenever he was named the starter,
Terrible.
he was ass. But when he was great was when he came in and the chips were down. The chips are down here.
You know what's sad, guys? They're most like, not that there's so really any great options out here.
Carson Wentz, we know, is off the table.
He's off the table.
That
he was
hurts.
the best option of the free agent.
I would have taken him.
Listen, we
But-
talked about him in week 4. We talked
My
about
guess
him.
is they're going to end up bringing in a guy who's more of a third quarterback. I mean,
I
don't, you know.
They're
like,
going
that's
to sign like Malik Cunningham off
Kellen
the
Mond
practice
is coming back. I'm just telling y'all now. Break the news
Not the
3 days
answer.
in advance.
God.
Yeah, not
Kellen
the
Mond
answer.
is coming back. 2 guys that you guys missed, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, who are they?
Not mentioned. Colt McCoy
I purposely left them off.
Yeah.
and
I do too.
Philip Rivers, who I would take
No,
over
no,
Matt
no.
Ryan in a
He's
heartbeat.
completely dead.
Philip Rivers has 12 kids. and he's
Andrew
been out of
Luck.
football for
He's
how
got
long
14 kids and been out for 2 years, but
Okay.
he was the guy.
I'd take Drew
the
Brees over
49ers
him.
said they were going to call him if they made the Super Bowl last year.
Brees.
I
Andrew
would
Luck,
take Drew Brees. He's been
Andrew
out
Luck
2
said he
years
tried
now
to come
also.
back.
I mean,
But
You know
I'd
what?
rather have
Let's
Drew Brees.
just make this a reality show, okay? It's called Who's the Quarterback?
Yeah.
And you bring I would watch this every episode.
Yeah.
You bring in Colin Kaepernick,
Yep.
Cam Newton,
Yes.
Nick Foles,
One
Yes.
week.
all of these names that we've
Philip Rivers.
got some money.
RG3.
It's only 8 games
each
left.
day, one of them gets voted off Quarterback Island, and you
Yeah.
do a rose ceremony and the whole thing.
Yeah.
You TV it up, and at the end of it, the quarterback standing is who we're left
Yeah, I
with.
mean, Colt is like 37, 38 at this point.
Yeah.
If I'm going to take a guy that age.
Could you imagine, though, that the
all
postscript to that? If Colt McCoy came back to Cleveland and won a Super Bowl here,
That'd be
the
amazing.
world would stop spinning. That would just, my mind couldn't handle
The
that.
fact that they're going to get like, I'm telling you, they're going to sign somebody that's either on a practice squad or just got released. Somebody
Kellen
that's.
Mond.
It ain't.
No, it's got
not
to be
gonna
somebody with upside.
Kellen Mond,
Yeah,
yeah.
so here's what it is, because I agree with you,
Yeah.
Bull. I don't think they're going to sign the guy and say he's our starter.
Right.
This is an insurance policy that they didn't have with Deshaun Watson.
That's right.
So in other words, and by the way, you made the decision 3 months ago that Josh Dobbs was not needed because DTR was that advanced.
That's
Yes,
it.
you
Now
have to
you
play him.
threw him into a fire, rolled in gasoline with no clothes on. And when he exploded, you were like, huh, didn't
Yeah.
see that coming.
It's a tricky
now
spot.
give him, he's got
Yeah.
the whole week as runway to Sunday. He's the
spot
starting
against
quarterback.
the Steelers,
It's a
though.
very tricky
Yeah.
spot.
only-
But here's what I want to do. Put him out there with a week's preparation, and let's see how he can do now.
talking
But
about?
by the way,
DTR.
if he sucks
DTR.
against Pittsburgh,
And-
you've got to play him the next week.
And yes, but I mean, you have to have his insurance policy backup in the building tomorrow.
Well, even if you sign Matt Ryan and Tom Brady, they're not playing this Sunday.
No, of course not.
y'all are
But
wrong.
they're in the room. They're learning the verbiage. They're
Right.
they're getting acclimated, and they're basically just over in the corner. Listen, guys, I have faith in DTR.
Any
Listen,
retired
I do.
guy,
Listen.
any retired guy's going to need a few weeks. I
I'm
would think.
going to let y'all know something right now.
Crazy.
The Cleveland Browns, like, you think we was excited? This defense is not going to let the Pittsburgh Steelers win that game. They're just not. They come into Cleveland, they're not going to be able
Well,
to
the
beat
problem
the
is
Browns.
they didn't let them win the first game.
But here's the thing.
And
no,
they did.
No, I think, this ratcheted up. This is another level. I believe that you have to look with foresight. The Cleveland Browns are mess around and be 7-3. And the problem you don't want to have is what the 49ers had. What happens if you keep winning games and you don't go get another quarterback, and then DTR's playing well a couple days, and then he gets hurt? Now you gotta go get somebody 2 weeks from now.
Well, no,
when you could have already had them in the system, ready to go.
Gee, there will be a quarterback on the roster by Friday.
I mean, they're going to add somebody.
Like they're going to take their time, but someone has to be on the roster by Friday because you need 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah, but there's, as you said, as we've said many times, there are levels. There's 3 possibilities. They're going to add in the worst possibility is the Kellen Mond.
Oh no, we're not throwing that out there.
Who's been around.
That's what we have right
There's
now.
no upside.
Yeah, we got 2 of them right now.
He's P.J. Walker with a couple less games played.
Yeah,
that's what
the second option is another unproven guy with upside, like a Malik Cunningham of the Patriots.
I like him.
Who put up ridiculous rushing and passing numbers in college.
But why isn't he starting in New England? Their quarterback play has been
He's a rookie. I don't know.
Bill Belichick's fried. I don't know.
Who knows? But at least there's some upside there, right? And then the third option is the veteran.
Wait a minute.
The veteran who's been good, has had his moments.
That's
in the league.
what I want to go with proven.
And I'm hoping it's at least 2 or 3 and not 1. And 1, I mean,
2 things. 1, I didn't know Deshaun Watson was talking to the media today. That's 1. 2,
what time's he talking?
He's speaking as we speak.
right now.
Oh, good.
wow.
So we'll keep an eye out for quotes.
It's only one. It's one thing that can happen. Okay, listen. This could be the greatest story ever told.
It could be.
What I'm about to say.
Okay.
Jacoby Brissett go to the Commanders and say, "I demand my release."
Was he Madonna now?
I demand my release, and he come back to Cleveland. They'd build a statue.
And by the way,
it would be a hell of a story.
it would be, wouldn't it?
note to all of the guys out here. This is a really good learning lesson. If you're gonna pay somebody, all these quarterbacks, all this money, and you're putting half of your millions into half of your roster, your cap into a quarterback, you're dumb as hell if you go out there and say we don't have a backup. You're dumb.
I know,
Why would you do that?
And Bull said earlier,
Why
let's
would you
face
do
it,
that?
teams that have a great quarterback don't have a good – and you're right.
I didn't say they don't have a good backup. I said they don't have a highly paid
You're right.
backup. Yeah.
However, the Browns had the answer to that, not in Jacoby Brissett, because he was going to cost too much money.
Right.
Josh Dobbs was sitting here. I had said on this show maybe 2 months ago when the Watson thing came out, I made a quote. I said, Andrew Berry brought the Browns into this season woefully underprepared. And I was killed for that.
Did not go over well.
But let's just revisit that for a second. How much better do you feel if he would kept the $2 million backup in Josh Dobbs, who, by the way, is trying to pilot Minnesota? He's saving the Titanic in Minnesota.
He's done a nice job in Minnesota.
He's done an unbelievable job.
What's interesting is he got off to a decent start. Now, Josh Dobbs is not really a starting quarterback, in my opinion.
Of course not.
He got off to a
He's
nice
a
start in
quality
Arizona
backup.
and then went downhill after a number of games.
He did.
And he's gotten off to a very nice start in Minnesota.
Yeah.
But
better than he did in Arizona.
He is a level above what the Browns
Yes.
have.
All right,
There's
let's-
no doubt about
Let's
it.
cut this out. 'cause
And they had him right there.
I'm sick of this narrative right here. Y'all got to cut this out.
What are you sick of?
Because y'all act like coming into this season, Josh Dobbs had made his first start,
He had barely
just
played.
last
That's
year?
true.
Was he a better option than DTR, who had 0 snaps?
No.
Okay.
Through the
Why are you not keeping both?
Because through the preseason, everybody was like, man, he looked way better than
He did. You're absolutely
so
right.
Why
And-
would
and
you
Tyvus-
not
couldn't you
trade
keep both?
him?
Tyvus, you're
a
right.
fifth-round pick.
The ceiling for
Because
DTR is higher than Josh Dobbs.
Nobody keeps 3 quarterbacks on their 53-man roster. They keep 2 and 1 on the practice squad for emergency reasons.
Okay.
You could have kept DTR
Fine.
on the practice squad.
You think if they would have cut DTR
Yes.
as well as he played, nobody would have picked him up?
No.
As much as we sitting here talking about
Every
backup
guy we've
quarterbacks-
talked about that last year, oh, you can't put this guy in the practice squad. Not that many guys get claimed on cuts.
And by the way,
quarterbacks?
And by the way,
quarterbacks?
Yes, they don't
Yeah,
get claimed very
okay.
often.
A young quarterback that look good.
Why do we do this? Why do we do this
Yeah.
if your parents taught you better than this?
Yeah.
Why, when you got in trouble, you go to your parents and you say, well, why'd you do that? Because everybody else was doing it. That ain't never been an excuse for never doing nothing in life. You got to be a leader. Who cares about what everybody else is doing? You are put in charge to make decisions the best for the Browns, not to mimic what the Vikings or the Cowboys or the Eagles do. You got your situation. You should have kept both of those dudes. Who cares if he's on the practice squad? Because guess what? When you're sitting here with nothing left to be talked about, we're in this position today because nobody had the forthright to state, you know what? We got a quarterback who ain't played in 3.5 years.
That man would have got claimed.
We don't have a quarterback who ain't played in 3.5 years, and they saw him get hurt. And they still. Here's the thing, Tyvus. they still didn't make no moves at the deadline.
Yeah, that's it. We could debate whether they should have traded Josh Dobbs or not. It's a fair debate.
Right.
Fine. But there's no doubt they should have done something at the trade
I
deadline.
agree with that.
100%. And they could have had Dobbs back. Dobbs got traded for a 7th-round pick.
And you notice what Barry said. Oh, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
He said, no, I'm not really into diving back in there. I'm worried about the room today.
They
Sure you would.
And they could have signed Carson Wentz for nothing.
On Josh Dobbs' podcast last week, he said he felt he was going to be traded back to Cleveland just before the deadline. We're going to bring in Leroy Hoard tonight after the normal show at 4 o'clock today. We are doing Behind the Glass, continuing the conversation about Deshaun Watson's injury. Myself, Anthony Earl, in studio live, continuing that conversation about Deshaun Watson. But now let's bring in Leroy Hoard, who has experienced things that we have never experienced, played with guys who have gotten knocked out for the season. And Leroy, can you imagine can you believe is the better way to phrase it?
Bro.
Believe the news we got this morning out of Cleveland.
Man, I was feeling so damn good, right? Feeling good. Deshaun looked like he was turning. The only thing I wanted from Deshaun was to get 4, 5, 6 solid weeks in so he can get comfortable. Because, for the last 2 years, it's been play some, not some, play some. He needed to get a stretch to where, and it looked like he was starting to get comfortable, So it's unfortunate, but let's be real, right? I said this before. You had Deshaun Watson for those plays at the end of the game. You see what I'm saying? Those are what those special quarterbacks can do at the end of those games in those tough situations. There's a handful of quarterbacks that can do it. He was one of those guys. It doesn't mean the Browns can't win. But when you get in those moments, when you get in those crucial moments, you want everybody to look at who's under center and have confidence and say we can roll with him. And that's the thing that's going to be missed. Because it seemed like, just this whole attitude of the team, both defensively and offensively, especially up front, especially on the lines of scrimmage, they've been dominating. Mm-hmm. And it goes to show you, see, Bull, we got in this conversation about yards per carry.
Yep.
It ain't how many yards, it's how many carries. And when you do that, I saw something that I thought I'd never see happen to a Baltimore Ravens defense. When a 4-yard game became a 14-yard game.
Yep.
You have to go back a long time before you show me some footage when you see that. And so that's from that pounding all game. That's from them carries all game where it didn't look like it was much.
Yep.
But then all of a sudden when you get to that critical moment, that 4 yards becomes 14. That's why you run the ball, okay? Now, there's going to be more of that's going to be required, and there's probably going to be more pressure put on the defense because the defense has been balling.
Leroy, listen, let me ask you this. If you're in that locker room right now, okay?
Yeah.
There's no, listen, Deshaun Watson's a very good quarterback. The guys you have are not good quarterbacks. Nobody you're going to pick off the street is going to be anywhere close to Watson. But you want to try to get, you certainly want to try to get the best guy available. But when you're a team that's 6-3, that looks like a team that could be a Super Bowl winner or a contender at the very least, and you lose a quarterback and the drop is so big, how do the rest of the players handle that? Because it's easy to say next man up, but it's different at quarterback.
There's 2 ways you can look at it, right? Now, the one thing I'll say about this team, right, is that there's 3 guys on that team that have changed the attitude of that team from everyone. And in years past, and I sent out this tweet, I said in years past, this game would have been over after the first quarter.
Sure.
I say, why isn't it? There's 3 guys, okay? There's Jim Schwartz, Callahan, and Deshaun Watson, okay? And forget about Deshaun Watson's play. But just look how they rallied behind that dude, right? Even though he wasn't playing well, the team had confidence in him that he was going to get it going. That defense is playing unbelievable. I mean, you go down 14-0 and they score 17 points the whole rest of the game. So they go 3.5 quarters. And keep in mind, the offense gave him one of those touchdowns. Mm-hmm. And then you look at that O-line with all the shuffling and all the back and forth and guys being moved, and you're able to do that? Yeah. The attitude is different on this team. So before I talk about the drop-off at quarterback, before I even suggest or insinuate that it's over because they don't have Deshaun Watson, I want to see how the rest of the team responds. Exactly. I want to see what Kevin Stefanski does offensively. I want to see what the O-line and D-line does. I want to see if that defense can turn it up a notch and stop the other team and keep the Browns in every game. And then we'll see. Will the games look different? Absolutely. And they should. Because Deshaun Watson ain't the quarterback. But can they be productive? Yes. Because I've seen the way these guys have played at every other position, and they've been dominant. And if you're that dominant in that many areas of the football team, if you're that dominant, I don't care how good the player is you lose, you're going to have a hard time telling me that the rest of that can't compete.
And that's exactly why I'm not crushed. Exactly what he just said.
I'm crushed for him.
I'm crushed for him. I'm crushed for him. But look, this fan base has faced worse. Here's the issue. And you're right, G. Bush. If they play that game 10 times against San Francisco, Cleveland wins 1 or 2 with P.J. Walker. But they did it, and they did it because of the spirit that Leroy is talking about. This team has something special. And is it going to be easy? Of course not. It's going to be way more difficult. But I believe that, I'm definitely not ready to fold up the suitcase and say, well, bring on 2024.
Well,
no
of course
way.
not.
Of course
and neither
not.
should the Browns, and neither should their front office. That's why they got to get a quarterback.
Well, Leroy, let me ask you this.
But wait, can I ask Bush a question? Wait, let me ask Bull a question.
Yeah.
What's the hardest position on the football field to fill?
I would say quarterback.
Corner.
In sports.
What the hell makes you think they just go find one?
No. He's Leroy.
What
He's
are you
wrong.
about?
It's corner.
Leroy.
It's cornerback.
I'm not.
Yeah, but guess what? No, wait.
Yeah.
But check this out. Let me tell you this. If I got them 4 dudes up front, I can make an average cornerback look good.
You can with pressure.
Yeah.
Right. That's my point.
Let me answer your question. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. There's no easy solution out there. But what I would do if I was the Browns, knowing that P.J. Walker is not an NFL quarterback, DTR is a rookie, we don't know what he is, I would say I'm scouring whatever's left. I'm bringing somebody in, not to start this week, not to start next week, but that maybe in a month, if I think that guy could be a better option than what I got, whether it's bringing Matt Ryan out of retirement, where it's getting Colin Kaepernick 7 years later because he's P.J. Walker?
No!
All right, well,
absolutely not. You know why? You know why? Because he's on the NFL team and they sitting their ass at home.
Fair point.
And you just assuming that those guys could play better while the people all around the league, 32 teams, nobody thought these guys were good enough to be on the NFL team.
Well, let's face it, Colin Kaepernick's not in that conversation. He
hasn't played in 7 years. We complain about. We just complain about Deshaun Watson not playing for 3.
I know that, Leroy. Calm down. I know Colin Kaepernick's extreme. It's nuts.
I get it. Though.
I get it. It's nuts. Matt Ryan just played last year. Matt Ryan. Well, let me just finish.
Did you see Matt Ryan? Oh, my God.
I saw Matt Ryan complete 67% of his passes on a bad Colts team and throw more touchdowns than picks. P.J. Walker has thrown, one touchdown and 8 picks?
Where that boy stats at?
No, he's thrown 1 touchdown and 5 picks. DTR has thrown no touchdown and 3 picks. I understand your outrage, Leroy, but I'll go a step further.
They're extreme
I'm not calling Matt Ryan. My first call is to Tom Brady. So go off on me now.
Hey, Leroy, listen.
Funny. All of us said that's the first call we're making.
Can I just say this?
Sure.
Yeah.
Y'all don't like me today. Y'all got together and say, let's mess with Leroy.
Well, we figured because he was a Michigan man, you'd be all for it.
Hey, look, and you, hey, Leroy,
Tom Brady, no, you can go play quarterback.
No.
Listen, I want hey, throw me on the pile too. Go get me Nick Foles. Go get me P.J. Walker. Under no circumstances, I do not want to see P.J. Walker play no more.
And the reason P.J. Walker has a job and not Matt Ryan is because P.J. Walker's playing for the league minimum, and Matt Ryan wouldn't play for the league. If Matt Ryan were willing to pay for the league minimum, somebody would have had him on the team.
You want P.J. Walker?
Can I say this? Can I say this?
Yeah.
At this point, if there's a team that's in contention and need a quarterback bad enough, money is no damn option.
True, but who else needs a quarterback?
Okay, so you think that any of these teams, and I'm including the Browns, haven't looked at all the different scenarios? So here's what you got. I want all you guys to explain. To do this, okay? What's happening with Joshua Dobbs is an anomaly. That this dude has come in. He's come in. And on Wednesday, and he take them to 2 wins and looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's an anomaly.
Agreed.
Okay, hold on. So you're telling me you got a guy that's been in your system all year. You can go and get another quarterback to come in and be better than he would be?
Leroy, they're one touchdown and 8 interceptions combined.
But in this system, in this offense, what quarterback can you bring in that's not going to take a month?
And you know what, Leroy, you may be right. You may be right, but what you got to at least kick the tires, don't you?
What does it cost you to bring somebody in?
I'm saying they probably had a bunch of conversations, and they probably got to the conclusion of this. What are our choices? We can bring in a quarterback that's never been in this system and ask Kevin Stefanski and the offensive coordinator and whoever the offensive coaches are to try to get him up to speed as quick as possible, and it'll take anywhere from 3 weeks to a month.
So what? That's enough time.
And wait. Yeah. And that's just getting him up to speed. We ain't even talking about the talent of these guys that have been sitting at home.
Right, but Leroy, Matt Ryan did play in Shanahan's system, which is very similar to Stefanski's system, in fairness.
Do you realize what you're saying right now?
But Leroy, let me ask you this. And I'm not saying you're wrong. Listen, you know what you're talking about. You may be right. I'm desperate. The Browns may be desperate. They weren't desperate before this week. But you don't think it's possible that if they sign Matt Ryan today, that a month from now, he could give you better quarterback play than P.J. Walker? You don't think that's possible?
No. You know why? Because he's old as hell.
Who cares?
I don't know what y'all think. Wonder if there was any chance that Matt Ryan could play football, he'd still be playing football. Stop making it sound like, he's just sitting at home chilling.
We don't think it's a great option. Right. There's no great options.
Well, Tom is Leroy. Tom is sitting
Tom is ready. You know Tom is ready. Come on.
I mean, my question is, what does it cost you?
Yeah,
It don't cost you nothing. It don't cost you nothing to bring somebody in and put him behind him.
And Matt Ryan's 38. Let's not talk about him like he's Brady's age.
Oh, all right, guys. I give. Y'all to beat me down. I'm going right now. I'm going here. I'm gonna get off of here.
We did it.
I'm gonna get off of here and go hit the pappy.
What if we bring back Bernie? Should we bring back Bernie, Leroy?
And who gonna hold him up?
We'll bring back you to hold him up
too.
No.
You got one carry a game in you?
I want to. So let me ask.
Zero
His old statement: if you need,
what?
if you need
I
one,
might have
I'll
one
give you
carry.
3. If you need 5, I'll give you 3.
Yeah.
Now it's if you need 1, I'll get you minus 3.
Hey, I might have one carry in me, but I don't have one tackle in me.
Leroy, you know what the crazy part about this game is? No matter who's starting this game, this is crazy. This is how well the Browns is playing at home with the defense. They can start DTR or P.J. Walker.
I'm still picking the Browns.
And the Browns is not losing this game.
I'm picking the Browns.
Bingo! That's my point. They're
not losing.
But I think we all agree.
Here's what you're doing. Here's what you're doing.
Yeah.
you're almost insulting the rest of those guys on that team with what they've done the last few weeks by saying the only way we can win is if we get a good quarterback.
Well,
based
Leroy,
on what you've seen these guys do.
But there's a difference, Leroy. We can pick them at home in a battle of 6 and 3s against an offensively challenged football team. But
it's going to
the
get
goal
tougher.
here isn't just to beat
Correct.
Pittsburgh. The goal is to
Correct.
make the playoffs and make some noise. And
Correct.
to do that,
Now,
DTR and PJ Walker aren't it.
Yeah, this may be true. But of all the options you just talked about, neither are any of them.
Who you calling then?
Because
Because they got to call somebody.
No, they don't.
No,
they're gonna add
he
another
said they added
quarterback.
a
Andrew Berry said in the news conference earlier this morning they are going to add a quarterback to the room.
Somebody off
And,
the practice
and I
squad.
promise you he'll be 30 or less.
Oh, that's
Kellen-
what I-
Kellen
He ain't gonna be an
sound
old guy.
You sound just
So
like
what about
I
Malik
said.
Cunningham? Let's go with him.
But I'm just saying, like, to bring in, like, understand what you're asking somebody to do. And it's unfortunate, and the situation sucks, and it's terrible, right? Nobody wants to be in this situation. But grasping at straws ain't the answer, right? Here's the problem with this franchise, and I'm glad that they're not at that point right now. Soon as the first sign of anything bad happens, everybody wants drastic change. And I know you don't like the guys they have, okay? And I'm telling you that the Browns can win some football games and they're going to look ugly.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying that. But I'm telling you, the best chance of the Browns winning and staying as close to who they are right now is rolling with the guys in that room.
All right.
Leroy.
Well, that's
Fair
what
enough,
they're
man.
going to do that anyway, which is what I said, but no
Yeah.
one, you know.
Thanks, Leroy. Good-
Hey, like we just,
We'll have you on again in December to talk about that.
y'all went back into the Wayback Machine. Hey, you know Joe Montana. I seen him holding a Guinness. He could probably throw a football.
I'd rather have him than PJ Walker.
No, you wouldn't.
Nah, that's true.
No, you wouldn't. We just saw that commercial with all them old players.
That's a great
Yeah.
commercial, by the
It
way.
is,
Great
right,
commercial.
right,
That's
right.
that's who y'all want that quarterback.
Dude, we need to have a Browns version of that commercial
We
with
do.
you and
That'd be-
Bernie
Yeah, that's a great
and a couple
idea.
other guys. We need to do that.
It's a great
I think
idea.
our show should produce that commercial.
I'm down.
I want to do a
we get
reality
Bernie,
show.
we get Leroy. Who else do we get?
Hey.
Metcalf, maybe?
Yep.
Who gonna help me put my uniform on?
We love you,
Bye,
Leroy.
Leroy.
We'll talk to you next week,
See you,
man.
buddy.
All right.
Well, there's
interesting.
dissent. Like we all,
Yeah.
I guess now Tyvus is saying that's what he
Yeah.
would do too.
Oh, yeah.
But I
Well-
think they're gonna bring in a quarterback.
That's
They're
the part.
going to do
I
it.
think
Ask you this,
the
Tyvus.
part he didn't understand was they're bringing in somebody,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I kept
Yeah.
telling
He's
y'all.
just saying it's going to be a young guy. But
Yeah.
let me ask you this. As a player who recently played in the NFL,
Yes.
okay, let's go back to your time with the Seahawks. Your
Okay.
quarterback's Russell Wilson, all right?
He went down.
All right. And who was your backup? Refresh my memory.
Trayvon Boykins from TCU.
Okay. He wasn't very good.
He was decent.
He was decent.
Decent.
Let's say when you were with Seattle, let's say the same situation was here. You had Russell Wilson. Your backups were DTR and PJ Walker.
Okay.
And Pete Carroll came to you because he values your opinion. Okay. And he goes, Tyvus.
As he often did.
As he often did.
I mean, he
of course.
sat right next to me at defensive
See?
meetings, and we
And
talked
he said,
every day.
"Tyvus,
So he did.
Should we stick? Let's say it was the exact same situation, and PJ Walker and DTR had played as they've played this year. And he said, Tyvus, what do you think? As an intelligent young man, what do you think? Should we stick with PJ Walker, and should we stick with DTR, or should we go sign Matt Ryan? What would you think as a player?
In
Just
the
as a player. You know,
so me in the locker room on the team,
right? In the same situation,
I would
you'll
tell him to stick with one of the quarterbacks that we got.
you would even
One
though
tutty, 8 picks.
I would tell him to, you know why? Because I see him every day. I believe in him. Probably my dude. So it's like I'm
you
always.
think
going with my
you
dog.
think the players believe in these guys?
I know they do. I know they do. I know for a fact that they believe in DTR. For a fact.
I mean, I'm glad
Like
DTR.
that is a fact that they believe in DTR because
Now listen, guys.
after that game they tried to crush him and they was all on Twitter like, bro, don't let the media
Yeah.
crush you. We still got your back. They talking about. I just read some tweets in the locker room from Anthony Walker like he went through some terrible circumstances, but that boy been locked in and he gonna be ready to go. So they.
I
Yeah,
can't
he
wait to
plays-
see what he does.
believe it.
If
Guys,
he plays well this week, we'll have a totally different
let me
attitude.
tell you
And,
something.
and the
I-
thing
I'm
about the thing about DTR, he was a rookie. Like You got to give rookies some time. Like, you can't just throw them in
Especially
there one
at that
game.
position.
They're not all C.J.
Like
Stroud.
C.J. Stroud.
And-
C.J. Stroud didn't look that great the
And
first.
they told him
his first
they told him at 10:30. You know what spoiled us is Brock Purdy.
No, that
Because
spoiled you.
No, it spoiled the NFL. Look,
Spoiled you.
Brock, no, it spoiled everybody
No,
for
it
when it
didn't.
comes to backup quarterbacks because Tyvus, nobody expected Mr. Irrelevant to come in and take them within a win of the Super Bowl. He did it. And to the point
And
earlier that
nobody
Nick
thought
Foles
that-
won as a backup, that proves it can be done.
Well, I don't think everybody was thinking like that, though. Like, I didn't think that.
They started to think that way.
I didn't think DTR was going to be like Brock Purdy. Like, that's not what I thought. I thought that he would be a rookie. He got to go through his growing pains. I thought that he would be the best option for this offense because in college he ran something he read the spread. So it was pretty similar to what was going on. I thought it would take him some time. He would sit behind Deshaun for some years or maybe a season. He'll learn how to play quarterback in the NFL, have a great offensive mind in Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski put you in situations like you did Phil Walker against Seattle with just calling up perfect plays for him to throw screens.
Well,
he would flourish
and
in something
Purdy,
like that.
even though what Purdy did last year and for the most of the season this year, very impressive and unexpected, or at least last year was
It's
unexpected.
like 15 touchdowns and
He's
5 picks
still-
this year.
He still was put in a perfect a situation as he can be in that situation.
Yes,
with
but
the team around him.
there have been other
Yeah.
players drafted much higher than him, play their first NFL football with similar rosters that didn't do that.
Give me an example.
I don't know if there's been
What
that
in-
many.
Well,
Give me an
off
example.
the top of my head, I don't have one, but you're going to tell me Brock Purdy is the first time ever
No, of
that a
course.
quarterback came in with a good roster
Of
around
course
him?
not, Jay, but
Yes.
Stop it.
Yeah.
that was
I like you too much to argue with
you
you.
don't-
Jay,
Stop
he
it.
had his good. There have been, but not that many. He was in a pretty awesome situation.
He's in a great situation.
He should be in a better
The
situation.
only other quarterback that can remotely fit what Brock Purdy did in his first year is probably Dak Prescott, maybe, because he took Tony Romo's spot and he looked really good in his first year. Like maybe.
Well, there have been a lot of quarterbacks that have looked good in the first year.
also
It's
a
not
high
about
draft
looking
pick.
good in the first year. It's about a late draft pick coming in and playing very well.
Yes.
It was
which
a late
Brock Purdy
draft.
did.
Wasn't he like a fourth
No,
round?
I don't think Dak was a. Where did Dak get drafted?
He was a fourth-round pick.
Was he
pick,
fourth?
yeah.
I thought he was
Yeah.
higher than
Yeah,
that.
what you
Let's-
talking
Still,
about?
that's 3 rounds higher than Brock Purdy,
Oh, whoop-de-doo.
who was the last player taken in the
And
draft.
it's unusual and unexpected, but it's not the norm. It's the
Oh, by the way,
exception.
Tom Brady did that.
You can,
In New England.
We can sit,
So
we
Brock Purdy's Tom Brady.
We can sit here all day
You
and,
said
say,
it, not me.
that's not the norm. That's not what it is. Everybody can't do it.
Yeah.
The bottom line is the Browns have a roster that's built for the Super Bowl. And the reality of the situation is you need to do everything that you can do to make sure you can maximize the ability of this team to win football
Yes.
games. And
Priority
it does-
one.
It does not
So you
matter.
think Leroy's wrong?
Yes, he's
I
unequivocally
think
wrong.
Tyvus is wrong.
Yes.
Tyvus won who you want?
What you mean?
Who you want? Like who?
He's going with who we've got.
I'm rolling
Yeah.
with DTR.
I don't got no problem if you roll with DTR.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
My
Yeah.
problem is this.
You just don't want Phil up in there.
He's not playing one of those.
Yeah, I
songs.
said
We cannot
DTR.
do it. But what I'm saying though is you have to have foresight. You have to say what happens if DTR is playing well and he gets hurt. You're dealing with a patchwork line with left tackle, right tackle out.
Yeah.
Just because they played well last game does not mean they're going to
Great
hold
point.
up. And on top of that, you got rid of your second best receiver and Donovan Peoples-Jones, who you jettisoned out of here.
Oh, now all of a sudden he
No, I'm okay with that move.
But
I'm not looking
no,
back.
now
Hold on,
look at
hold on.
this now.
Let me finish this
Look
out.
at this.
Let me finish this out. Let me finish it out. What I'm saying to you is the familiarity of those guys playing with each other, and now you don't even have receivers like that. You got Amari Cooper and David
And a whole bunch of
Njoku.
dudes.
me ask you guys
You got your other receiver that scored a touchdown last week.
Yeah, stop it.
Number 8,
Hold on.
Elijah Moore.
Let me ask you guys
Congratulations,
this.
buddy. Welcome to
What
the
did you
Browns.
think? What did yesterday?
Greats, one of the all-time greats.
Yesterday, what did you think the Browns' chances are, percentage-wise, yesterday, of getting to the Super Bowl? If you had to give it a number.
I would have put them at 20%.
20, 25,
20%.
25,
Wow.
20, 25.
You were arguing with me before, and you're at 20%. That's pretty high.
25, 20,
Well,
20,
if you have 5, again,
Yeah.
in my mind, I think there are 5 teams that could win it.
Right. But
So
we'd all
if-
agree the Chiefs are the favorites.
Of course. So
they're-
I'm going to give them a 30% chance.
All right, let's say 20. So you with 20?
Yeah, 20,
I think it's
25.
a little high, but okay, let's go 20.
18.
18. Let's go 20. Well, I'm gonna say 20.
18.4, right?
Right now, at this moment, what percentage chance would you give them?
18.
12.
As
12.
constituted, 6.
12. You think there's a 12% chance they
Yes.
can go to the Super Bowl?
Because now I would
with
say
these
they're one of
quarterbacks?
8 teams that can win it.
6.
That can get to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
6.
I would say about like
Will you stop? 6.
6%.
I'd
But, see,
say about
but now look, let me just do the mathematical equation for you. 6% is exactly your chances of picking 1 out of 16 randomly.
What are you, a math whiz?
I am.
All right, let me ask you.
And listen, I don't like the fact that I am, but I am.
So let me ask you this question. Let me ask this. DTR goes out there against the Steelers. He gets this whole week of preparation. He goes out against
Yes.
the Steelers. He throws for 200 yards, a touchdown, and no picks.
We're not arguing
hold
that.
on, let me just
I'm
finish
just
this.
asking.
We're not arguing that.
What would you
Tyvus,
say
let me
it
just
is?
fin-
I would up their chances.
Oh,
Can I
okay.
finish this point?
Yes,
All right,
go
'cause
ahead.
right now, we're talking about right now. We don't.
Okay.
Right now, the only thing we've seen from him was terrible play.
6.
It's not fair to just put that on
That's
him,
a
but
setup,
that's all
Joe.
we've
That
seen.
was the setup.
Fine,
Okay.
agreed, but that's all we've seen. Okay, I would say the Browns at this point. There's no way, you could, in my opinion, you can say they have more than a 1% chance.
So, Bull,
because
again-
well, let me just finish.
Okay.
Because no team has ever won a Super Bowl with a quarterback this bad, ever.
Facts.
Never.
Okay.
You could look at Trent Dilfer. You could look at Jim McMahon. None of them were this bad.
Well, Miami
Wait,
won
what?
a Super Bowl in their undefeated season with Earl Morrall. He's
Never
not
heard.
exactly riding into the
I
Hall
have
of
no
Fame.
idea how good Earl Morrall is, and that's
Never
50
heard.
years
Well,
ago.
It was, but Brian
Well,
Greasy.
you
Yeah.
said nobody.
I mean, it was.
I mean,
like
is
five
Earl
times.
Morrall as bad as P.J. Walker? I don't know.
To Bull's defense, the Browns have gotten legitimately the worst quarterback play in the league. 30
Okay,
out of
you
32.
can't-
No team's got
Guys,
worse
Listen, that's not
quarterback
even debatable.
Well, but you're saying a 12% chance of the worst quarterback in the league.
But G, again, or Bull, again,
Yeah.
if I put 16 bottle caps on this table and there's
Yeah.
a P under one of them,
Right.
now there's no skill to that. You have a 6% chance of randomly picking the right one.
No, but that doesn't work that way. What are you talking about? It's not a random pick.
That
That
is
would mean
point
every
one
team
of my
has the
point.
same amount of chances.
Bull, that's
Yeah.
point one of my
Yeah.
where I'm going with
Right.
this. So if all things are equal
Yeah.
and you're just going to select one of 16
Right.
randomly, no luck, or no skill, it's just
Yeah.
it's under one of them, you've got a 6% chance.
So you're saying
Now-
the Arizona Cardinals have a 6% chance of winning the Super Bowl?
No, in a random pick. Now,
Yeah.
here's the second part of my point.
Okay.
I know what the Browns defense has. They have a Super Bowl caliber defense. Now,
it
hear me
doesn't
out.
matter with
now, hear
terrible
me out.
quarterback
So
play.
now we're going to throw a skill set into this random selection process.
Right.
Which we all agree, mathematically, it's 6-point-something% that you're going to pick the 1 out of 16. So one of them is going to go. Now you're going to throw in the fact that this team has a Super Bowl caliber defense. That's half of the game. And you're going to tell me their chances are going to go from randomly being selected to 1% with a Super Bowl
There's no
caliber
chance.
defense?
We don't start at 6%, Jay, because not everybody has a 6% chance.
Bull, I'm
That's-
saying that because
Jay,
one of them has
you
to go.
can't win a Super Bowl with these quarterbacks.
Can you
That's
win
it.
a Super Bowl with a great defense?
Yes, but there's other.
So you're going to give this team a 1%
Yes,
chance of going to the Super Bowl?
Jay,
because the Ravens have a Super Bowl defense
This ain't-
too,
this
and a great quarterback.
This is
you
not
only
a-
have a Super Bowl caliber. You only have a defense.
This is not a fair argument.
But watch,
You don't
watch.
have
Jay.
enough. There's not enough of a sample size
Did
of
this
DTR
Super Bowl
to say
caliber defense beat one of the favorites in the NFC?
This. Yes.
Yes.
Did this Super Bowl caliber defense, and by the way, they did it with trash quarterback play. Okay?
The
So
odds of
you're going to tell me that they have a 1%
Yes,
chance of
yes.
going to the Super Bowl?
Yes.
To me, this whole
Oh
argument,
my
argument
Jay,
is
no
irrelevant.
team has ever
There's
got
not
to the
we
Super
don't
Bowl
know
with a
about
quarterback this
DTR.
bad.
We don't know.
Bull, that may be true, but
Yes.
I know Jim McMahon wasn't a great quarterback.
Who said great?
Trent Dilfer wasn't a great
Jay, you
quarterback.
can't- those guys were average. This guy's the worst.
I
in
don't
the
even
league.
know they were average.
Yes,
Bull.
they were.
I don't think
Come
they
on.
were. I watched
were-
Trent Dilfer play for
Trent
4
Dilfer's-
years.
but
Trent
Trent
Dilfer was
P.J.
not average.
Walker?
Trent Dilfer was horrible. No, he's not P.J. Walker. It's got to
not
be
even
DTR,
close.
which we don't know what we have there
It's
yet.
not even close, and that was one of the greatest defenses ever.
I'm sorry, I'm not going
The
to let you
Browns
rain
have a
on my
good-
parade. I'm not. I know
right.
you.
I'm gonna live in
Mr.
wild-
Let's pump up the fandom is now saying that this team has a 1% chance to go to the Super Bowl.
All
I
I'm
wanna
going
be
to say
realistic about
is,
the situation.
Okay.
we got to reassess this at about 4 o'clock on Sunday,
Absolutely.
because
And then you know
I
what?
don't know what DTR
And then the next
is.
Sunday, too.
I need to know.
And if DTR plays well, yes, then we start to change an opinion potentially.
But first we have to reevaluate Mikey
One second,
McNuggets'
Mike.
read.
Let me just ask this: Is there a quarterback out there?
Fact.
Is there a quarterback out there that could significantly raise the percentage?
Of course.
Who?
Yes.
But we'll tell you on the other side.
Wait. We've been talking about that all day.
No, but who would significantly? Who? I'm asking you.
We'll find out right after
Give me Tom Brady.
We'll find out
You're not
after.
going to get Tom Brady. You know
I will
that.
Right
find
after
out
McNuggets say what he got to
after
say.
the read.
All right, I'll get a read. I was going to ask a question, but I guess it's irrelevant. Y'all going to take it back to this anyway. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you're thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get it on the action than right now. The app is easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. Bull, you can answer this percentage question and a quarterback changes, then I got a different question for y'all. So does any quarterback change that percentage significantly for you guys, and who?
What was the
Significantly? Because I have them at like a 12% chance. Bull has them at a 1% chance. So significantly would be doubling those odds, which would be 2% chance.
What's the question?
Is there a quarterback out there that would significantly increase the Browns' chances of going
The
to the
only
Super Bowl?
one would be Tom Brady.
That's the only one?
Yes.
So
Vegas has the Browns.
In other words, there's nobody else better than P.J. Walker and DTR?
I don't know about DTR because I haven't only seen one
And that's
game.
why I'm holding out hope, too.
I only seen one game where a guy didn't have a full week of preparation. It's just like the Joshua Dobbs things, except his didn't go well.
By the way,
That's the way
Vegas
I'm
has the Browns with a 3% chance to get to the Super Bowl.
Okay, that's 3 times higher than you.
Well, but how many times? 300 times lower than you.
To me,
Yo.
1% is just absurd.
What's wrong
It's
with
just absurd.
12% is absurd, but I don't want to argue. Whatever.
Yeah,
Let me ask you guys this question.
I thought
then.
mine
Let
was
me ask you
just
this
right
question.
at 6. I thought it was warm and cuddly.
I thought mine was good at 8.
Last time I checked,
Hey, that's the random chances.
Jay, last time I checked, 1% is closer to 3% than 12%.
It is,
right?
but it's also 300% lower than 3%.
Well, yours is
Hey,
900%
Matt,
no,
higher.
it's not. It's
Dan,
1/4
Dan.
lower.
Let me ask you all a question. Let me ask you guys a question.
3
allergic
times
to
4 is
math.
12.
Yeah, G's allergic to masks, so let's not have him die on set. Let me ask the question. Jason was at Deshaun Watson's media availability. He's going to join us here in a couple minutes with some
Did he say
instant
anything
reaction.
noteworthy? Do we know of?
It was during the show. I was trying to figure
I know.
out
Has
this
anybody
stuff.
seen quotes? I
So,
never look for that stuff.
Jason is going to join us. He was right there, standing
Good,
right next to
good.
Deshaun. So we'll hear from Jason in 1 second.
I'm curious to get Jason's
Deshaun
overall.
was teary-eyed, too. It's real sad.
Listen, I'm devastated
It's
for
really
Deshaun.
sad. You could tell that man
Devastated.
is all in, and the way that this season has win and people that went against that man, it's really sad.
He's finally playing up to
It's sad.
close to what we thought he was going to be.
Yeah, it's sad. I feel bad for the kid. I really do. Not
Yeah.
too, but he got
So
230.
going back to
Terrible
Tennessee
for him.
when this injury first occurred. Now it's a different injury than what knocked him out for the season, but this whole shoulder saga with Deshaun. Can you guys go back and think of a player injury situation that has had more twists and turns in a 2-month span than what we've seen with Deshaun Watson this year?
No, well, it's been the same body part but multiple injuries. I mean, I think you would ask, one of the questions that you had said this morning was there a more devastating injury? I mean,
In the history of football?
No,
yeah,
in recent Browns memory.
Browns?
no, Nick Chubb is the only thing that came to mind.
This is
Nothing's even close.
But he's the quarterback. I mean, it's the
Baker
engine that
Mayfield.
drives the
Baker
team.
Mayfield.
no. Here's what I'm gonna say.
You like Baker as a backup right now? As your quarterback right
Yeah,
now?
heck yeah, I trade. If they wanted to trade him to me, I give up a third. For Baker.
What was his stuff? What is Baker's saying? Ride with it. What is it? What was his thing?
I woke up feeling dangerous.
Yeah, whatever. That's
McNuggets, to be
say
honest,
that.
Hey, listen,
well, we got,
100% out of 100 if they're being honest.
The
we'll
only
take
hope
him
for
right
the
now.
Browns is that Dorian Thompson-Robinson,
Is good.
realistically, ends up playing well. That's the only
That's
hope.
the best
agree.
hope.
That's
That's
it.
the
I
best
agree
hope.
with you.
I do believe that they could bring in somebody that could give us a better chance.
For the Browns front office sakes, they need DTR to play well. Because if he goes out there against Pittsburgh and just so happens to play well, they can look back and say,
yeah, you're
that's
right.
why we get paid.
But this is an all chips in the middle of the table move.
This is the reason why he's not going out to get a big name quarterback, because he knows he caused the spot to be bare to start with. Like, so
That's fact.
He's not going to be like, you know what, we need to go get a savior, because that would mean be like, well, who made the decision?
He said our savior was here.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that there's a big name quarterback. I mean, are you saying Nick Foles is a big name?
Heck shit.
He won a
Okay,
Super
then he
Bowl.
might be available.
I mean, he won a
Listen.
Super Bowl.
And listen, Andrew Berry, He admits his mistakes.
No, when?
The next year.
Hold on. Let me remind people.
We'll know next
That's
year.
cute, Tyvus.
No.
No GM ever admits their
Hold on.
He's finally cut players he drafted.
Yeah, for 3 years, his
He's
claim to fame was, hey,
addressed
everybody I've
defensive
drafted is
tackle.
still on the
Like,
team.
Look
he
here.
admits the next year that he was
let
wrong.
me get your ledger together.
We'll find out next
problem.
year.
Let him
Because
finish.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think DTR is going to play well. I think he will play well. I think they'll win a couple more games with DTR. The problem is you're still not addressing the issue. DTR now is your first quarterback, right? You still don't have a backup because PJ Walker ain't playing no more.
He's one game.
Hey, I don't care what he did.
What you mean?
I don't care if he was
Is
on
that
the
that's
roster.
what this whole thing
they
is
won
about?
games in spite of him.
So what?
Not good.
He still won them.
Bottom line. The bottom
One
line.
What's that?
touchdown,
McNuggets.
five
We're not
Put
going-
that,
no,
put
we're
that
not going down that road.
PJ Walker
We're not-
graphic up for
we
the
are not-
win.
We are
Stats,
not
if
going
you
down
want
that
to
road.
be.
Let me see
The
it.
reality of the situation is this cat, AB, needs to get a quarterback because what happened with the 49ers? The 49ers had all the intentions. They said, we got Trey Lance. He
You
get
like
hurt.
that? Look at that.
Jimmy G, he get
Above
hurt.
500 and everything.
Look at
G.
them picks.
What's the asterisk
Look
about?
at them picks.
Look at the touchdowns
Look at
and
that.
look at
What
the
you-
turnovers.
I just want to know
The
what's
asterisk is for the Indianapolis game. He technically did not start that game, but I gave him the win because he
Which, of
played
course,
about
he should get,
90%.
of course.
still.
Yeah, he deserves that
He's
one.
over 500 as a career.
Oh,
player.
then I say ride or die with PJ, baby.
No.
Ride or die.
Well, here's the
That's a
reality.
miracle that these winning
That
records.
they are where they are.
It's
And
Tim Tebow, is what it is.
The situation
Tim
is
Tebow
this.
won too.
Oh, we just need to
Nah.
win 4 more games
Nah,
to make
I'm
the
not-
playoffs.
listen, this-
Just
I'd rather
4.
have Tim Tebow than PJ
Jesus.
Walker.
Hey, let's call Tim.
Gee, what are you saying?
Call Tim.
Listen, this is we 6-3.
Yeah.
And we sitting here laughing. This is big business.
We gotta go
This is the
500.
biggest game. This is the biggest game the Browns have played in decades.
We need to go 5-3
You
from
just
here on
said
out.
that last week.
Hey, and my
was
thing
bigger.
and guess what?
Oh my goodness.
Guess what? And my thing is, you better keep making it big. The bottom line is Andrew Berry punted on the last season. He didn't get defensive tackles. He did not get receivers, and the Browns were horrible. And they put everything in Deshaun Watson back. They put everything in the Watson basket where 6 games. We see with Deshaun Watson, you put everything on him. Now this year, now you're looking at a situation now in a place where you're still trying to put it on guys. Do something for your team because if DTR goes down,
They did some-
you need a backup that can come in that knows how to read defenses, that's not going to predetermine throws, that understands coverage, and veterans do that.
That's what Phil is.
Phil?
Stop it. That's
Stop.
enough. We
That's-
had
that's
enough,
fair.
guys.
He keeps calling him Phil.
Guys, here's the answer. This is what the Browns have to do. This is the obvious answer to what the Browns should do, okay? It's not ideal. You can't give up on the season. Nobody wants to give up on the season.
No.
Okay? So here's what you got to do. You call Matt Ryan. Stop messing around. Stop. You call Matt Ryan. Say, Matt, here's the deal. Okay? We need you here. What we're going to do is get you ready for a month. In that month.
Do you have a month?
Yes.
If you go 0-4, the season's over.
In that month, we're going to play DTR. We want to see what this kid's got. We like him a lot, but we would love for you to come and be around with him. And if he can't do it,
Can we give
we're
him
going to
2
put you in
games,
there.
not 4?
Well, okay,
Ooh.
whatever. The exact amount of games
I mean,
doesn't
if
matter.
Josh Dobbs got ready in 2 days and Baker
He's
did the
been
same thing
retired.
last year, I know he's
Those
been
guys were not
retired,
retired.
so you're right about that.
Yeah.
But 4 games, the season could be over.
Well, listen, they're not going to lose 4 straight.
The point is,
They won't
Bull,
lose
you get
4
him in here now.
You
It's
get
good
him in
problem.
here now.
Yeah.
You say, hey, we may never use you this year.
Nah, I agree with
because
this.
we got this kid and we want to see if he can do it.
I agree
Because
with
he's
that.
our future potentially after Watson. But we need you here because we may need you to bail us out and we need you to get ready. And we're going to pay you whatever we're going to pay you, and let's do it. And hopefully he's agreeable to that.
I don't
because
disagree
you
with
got to
that.
have that security blanket. The best hope for the Browns to get to your 12%.
I agree.
Is that DTR can be a serviceable NFL quarterback, and he might, because there's no if as much of an anomaly as Brock Purdy was, and it is an anomaly. There's no reason DTR couldn't be the next Brock Purdy. Now, I get it. Right now, as currently constituted, the Browns are not as good around him, not even close, as the Niners were for Purdy. But I don't need DTR to be as good as Purdy. I just need him to not be terrible. I
mean,
need him to be
when
adequate.
you look at his number, I mean, I know the 3 picks other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, but the 19 for 36,
That's terrible.
it's not, to me, terrible is when you can't even be 500. When you can't be 50% on your passes,
barely over 50%.
19 of 36 is serviceable.
But you have to bring in. I know. Listen, all due respect, Leroy knows way more football than I do. You played in the league, I get it. But you gotta get a legitimate veteran in here with the understanding that if DTR takes off, we're sticking with him.
That's
right.
what, yeah.
We're
You're
sticking
right.
with him.
That's
But
what
if
I'm
he
saying.
can't, then whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4, we're going to you. Be ready.
Let's
But
go to
Phil Lear's
Berea.
over 500.
Jason was at the news conference. He was at both news conferences, I think. He was at Andrew Berry.
He was at Andrew
and-
Berry's. He was at Deshaun Watson. We're going to
Yeah.
bring in Jason Lloyd one sec. But one more reminder that FanDuel is the #1 sports book in America. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you're thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time than right now to get in on the action. The app is easy to use with a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL and an official partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Jason Lloyd joins us now from Berea, outside of the Browns facility. He just spoke with Deshaun Watson, with Andrew Berry, and everyone else in the locker room, and he joins us now for the latest. What's up, Jason?
What's up, guys?
Nice car.
Hey Jay, start with the mood. I mean, obviously it had to feel, even though Andrew Berry was very excited about this opportunity.
What's he supposed to say? What do you want him to say?
That's
Oh,
what
my
we've been
God,
saying.
We get
we're
it,
screwed.
but let me tell you, when he went into his office and shut the door, I'm pretty sure he needed a Kleenex.
Probably crying, yeah.
What was? Take us inside the room, the temperature in the room. What did you sense?
Trash can, I think, when he went in his office. It was somber, right? Like it's everyone's down. Deshaun was down. Deshaun had to pull himself together for a couple seconds. You know, Jake Trotter asked him just where are your emotions right now, and it took him a couple seconds to collect. And you know, me being the dead inside cynic that I am, I kind of wonder, like, well, is this theater or is this real? And I talk to other people like, oh no, this is real. Like, he's hurting. He's really hurting. So, I mean, you know, he's played, 12 games now in the last 3 years? So there's a lot of, I think that's right. I was trying to run the numbers in my head. So there's a lot of questions.
I don't even think it's 12.
Short,
I think it's 9.
Well, he started.
it was 6 last year.
6 last year, and he started 6 this year, but he didn't finish the Colts game.
Well, that game
So
was,
really
I would,
11.
I think without that game,
so
yeah.
11.
He started.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's, you know, there's obviously he's down from just what the last few years have been like. Now I think there's fair questions to wonder what's this going to look like when he comes back. So, yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. And there's just, it was, you know, they had it rolling. It was right there. It was wide open. I was talking to Zach on the phone yesterday, Zach Jackson, and I said, the AFC is wide open, man. Like, there's no telling where this could go if he can continue to play like he did in the second half against Baltimore. And, you know, I tweeted this earlier, but I'm sure you guys talked about this, but he went 14 of 14 with a broken shoulder.
I know.
Insanity.
Yeah. Don't ever talk about this guy's toughness ever again.
Thank you.
And I was just kind of poking around after the press conference because I kind of wondered also, like, did he feel it? Like, was his shoulder shot up? Are they shooting him up before every game just because of what else is going on there? And I don't think he got a Toradol shot before the game, from what it sounds like. So that's even more remarkable because, I mean, Tyvus would know, G would know, if they shoot you with a Toradol, you probably can't feel it anyway until that wears off. But from the sounds of things, I don't even know if he got a shot for the shoulder before the game. So if that's the case, man, I mean, you know, dude was a warrior to go out there and play in the second half with a broken shoulder and go 14 of 14. That's
Jason,
unbelievable.
Jason, obviously he said they're going to add a quarterback. He wouldn't give you any speculation. There's 3 camps here, right? There's the long shot, call Tom Brady, call RG3, call Matt Ryan, whatever, one of those vets that have had success in the league. There's the young guy with upside maybe on a practice squad. And then there's the Kellen Monds or the PJ Walkers who are just roster fodder, no chance to start, third guy at the end of the line. Which way do you think they're going to go?
I think they'll sign somebody off somebody else's practice squad. I don't think they're going to go the Colt
Malik
McCoy
Cunningham.
route. There you go. Like, yeah, that's a name. I mean,
I
Tyler
like him.
probably know the names better than I would. But I think that's the route to go. You want someone who's in shape, first of all. And I don't think that they're looking like I think it's going to be I think you got to go back to DTR.
They are.
And no one has come out outright and told me that specifically, but it sounds like that's the way. I know there's some reports out there, and that sounds like that's the way that they're going. I mean, PJ's a turnover machine. You just can't have that with this defense. That's like, I tweeted earlier. That's the one poison pill to this defense. You can't don't turn the ball over. Hand the ball off, throw some screens, run play action, and take deep shots on third down. Like if you can do that, you can keep yourself in these games the rest of the way. But if there was somebody else on the street who they thought was better, they'd have been here a month ago. That's why I don't think that there's no street free agent or any practice squad guy that they're going to bring in that they're going to put over these guys right now, or they would have been here already. And so, I don't think that necessarily that's the great answer. Barry made it clear they're looking at the room that they have now as how they're going to solve this going forward, barring complete catastrophe and more injuries. And I just think you got to go back to DTR at this point.
Jason, sorry to cut you off, but I agree they got to go to
No, you're good.
DTR. I agree that they should go to DTR, and hopefully they will, because that's why you traded Josh Dobbs, who right now looks like he'd be a better option than anybody else they have. And I understand because Leroy said similar to what you said about like going after a Matt Ryan. But like, what would be the harm of calling a Matt Ryan or even a Colt McCoy or a Nick Foles and saying, hey, listen, guys, we want to get DTR. We want to give him this shot. We want to see him for a few weeks, see how well he plays. And if it works, hey, you get to collect a paycheck for a few weeks and be a veteran backup for him to talk to. If it doesn't, we're going to throw you in 3 weeks from now, 2 weeks from now, a month from now. What's the harm in doing that?
Well, they couldn't play when they last saw him, so I don't think they got better. I guess would be what I mean, Matt Ryan was awful. Last time we saw him, he was terrible. And Joe Flacco beat the Browns last year. Though. Well, but first of all, do you know that they want to do this?
I don't.
No. We just assume that they want to come here. I mean, they could be very happy cashing their millions and millions and millions of dollars of checks from previously. So that's number one. Does the guy you want, if there is a guy you want, does he want to be here? Does he want to go through that? And it would be nice to have someone, I think, with a little bit more veteran experience, but they're not going to know the system because they just walked in on day one. Now, it's probably not the most complicated system. And a true veteran like Matt Ryan, has been around and seen enough. And Matt actually probably is somewhat comfortable with the schemes that Kevin's running. But I just think that they're going to go the route of a practice squad guy who's in shape, who's in the league, who's at practice every day, who could step in and play if necessary, where some of these other guys you're talking about haven't been on a football field in a year or more. And I don't think that's realistic. If they thought Matt Ryan was better than P.J. Walker, then why the hell wasn't Matt Ryan here a month ago? Well, that's just he was out there, and I'm just using him as an example. Fill in any name you want in that spot.
But it's possible,
if he was better, he'd have been here already.
It's possible. Maybe they reached out to Matt Ryan. I'm just saying, throwing this out there. Maybe they reached out to Matt Ryan a month ago, and he was like, "No, I'm not interested," because he knew Deshaun Watson was coming back. But maybe knowing that Deshaun Watson is out for the year, some of these guys might be more interested because they could potentially play in the playoffs. It's possible.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys,
I don't know.
Yeah, I think.
No, I think it's a case-by-case basis. Some of these guys are probably very, very happy in retirement and don't want to go through this anymore. And maybe there is one or two out there that would be willing to come back and do it, but I don't think that that's the route they're going to go. I could be wrong. I just think if that's the route they wanted to go, they would have done it long time ago.
Jason, I got to ask this. Right now, Barry seems to be in a position where he doesn't want to talk about it, but I mean, I don't see any other teams trading their backup quarterback. They traded their backup quarterback for a 5th-round pick, and this guy's playing lights. Now he's saying he's playing lights out, but two other teams felt he was good enough to start for them, and the Cardinals and now the Vikings off 2-3 weeks a break, rest, or whatever the case may be. Don't know the playbook. I mean, is this something he has to answer for? Because right now you're down. You got a great team, a great defense, and then you're down to P.J. Walker and a rookie. So I mean. What is his explanation for that?
Well, there is no good explanation. That's why he doesn't want to talk about it, because it was a mistake, and he's not going to admit that right now. And it's hard for me. Like, I don't want to be hypocritical about it. And Bull, I think we've talked about it before. I'm not going to sit here and kill the guy now because we didn't kill him at the time. And at the time, I thought DTR's ready. They must think DTR's ready. That's why they're making this move. And either it was a miscalculation on their part, because clearly DTR wasn't ready at the time back then. We've talked about it before. It's almost like creating an asset, and this team is a little bit thin on trade assets right now. So you signed Josh Dobbs as a street free agent. I remember saying last year, I didn't think Dobbs. I wasn't even sure Dobbs was an NFL quarterback last year when he was here. And so if someone's coming to you and saying, "Hey, we're going to give you the 5th-round pick for this guy who's a fringe NFL quarterback, and you're going to save $1 million off your cap that you can roll over to next year," and you drafted this guy who looked good in training camp, who had a terrific preseason, and you think he's ready, I get the thinking behind it at the time. Now, obviously, it was a mistake. Like, it was a mistake. They should have held on to him, clearly. Yep. But it's just hard for me to totally crush them because at the time, you understood the logic behind it, and you followed the thinking as to why they thought that way. Now, DTR had one chance. He got half the practice reps leading up to it. He found out 2.5 hours before the game he was going to start, and it was an unmitigated disaster against one of the best defenses in the league. With a full week's rep of practice reps, with a little bit more experience, he's been another month of practices, and, we'll see. With a full week of practice reps, I've talked about on the show, Tyvis knows this, G knows this, you've got to practice. You've got to practice during the week. You can't just roll in on Sunday with no practice, especially at the quarterback position, and think you're good to go. Like, unless you are the elite of the elite of the elite, that just doesn't happen. So hopefully, it's now again, he's going against a terrific defense. It sucks for this kid that if they go the DTR route, his first 2 starts were against Baltimore and on the road at Pittsburgh. Like, can you think of 2 more difficult places to make your first 2 NFL starts? That's a tough spot to put him in. But I just don't know how you go back to PJ Walker because he's such a turnover machine, and that's the one thing you can't have with this defense.
Jason, I got 2 questions for you. The first one, did you find out why Deshaun wants to be called Derek?
No, I did not. Sorry, ran out of time.
And why
It was
are you,
next up on his list.
Yeah.
you know what? I thought this would be the perfect time to just, ask that
definitely.
question.
Yeah.
And why? What is? So you telling me you don't believe in a quarterback that's over 500 in his career? Do you need to see the? I got the graphic too. If you need to see what I'm talking about.
Hey, troll! Don't you dare! You're just being a troll, and you know it.
No, seriously. What is the realistic expectations for DTR? I mean, like you say, the first one wasn't good. Obviously, everybody in the locker room is behind him. I seen some quotes from the players on Twitter. Do you think that he actually has a good game and could potentially? Well, they need to go 4-4 to probably make the playoffs. Can he get them 4 wins?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the schedule and you think there's 4 wins in there. Now, also, I watched Denver the other night and thought, man, Denver's better than I thought they were. And we say it all the time, it's a week-to-week league. Just because you look good one week doesn't mean you will the next. But I was kind of chalking Denver up as that's a win. And then I saw them play Buffalo the other night and thought, well, they're better than I thought.
They also
Suddenly
beat
the
Kansas
Houston
City.
game. Yeah, and the Houston game isn't a gimme that, a month ago looked like it might be a gimme. That's not a gimme anymore. So I do think that there's wins here to go get if you take care of the ball. Like, again, hand the ball off, throw screen passes. We've talked about it before. It's the new Browns offense. We talked about it when Deshaun's shoulder was beat up a couple weeks ago. And I was talking to guys in the locker room about, like, what's your identity? What do you do well right now? Like, what is working? And it's heavy sets, it's extra linemen, it's extra tight ends. Run the ball, throw screens, play action, and take deep shots occasionally on 3rd down. There's nothing sexy about that. That's not why you go out and you trade for a franchise quarterback and give up 3 first-round picks to play that style of ball. But you can't work – like, this is the reality. This is where you're at. You want to win or lose. If you want to win, this is how you have to do it. You play defense. You rely on your defense. Play the field position game. You got a punter that can kick the ball to Erie, Pennsylvania. So punt and play defense and slowly stack drives together, swing the field of play, and if you start one drive at the 30, you get 1 first down, you punt it, you get the ball back, hold them at 3 and out, get the ball back, get 2 first downs, you punt them deep, you punt them inside the 10, you hold them, you get the ball back, now you're at the 50, now you're in the scoring position with 1 or 2 first downs. There's nothing sexy about this, but it's the reality of where they're at, and the AFC is wide open, and I think that's what hurts so much is it was right there, man. Everything was in front of them right now. It still is, theoretically. I don't know if this team's going to a Super Bowl with a rookie quarterback or PJ Walker or some dude off the street, but you can still get to the playoffs for sure. I absolutely think with this defense, you could still make the playoffs. You can find 4 wins, maybe 5, who knows. They haven't had very good quarterback play up to this point of the season, and look where they're at. So it's still out there for them, but it's a big blow.
It is. It's a big blow. Jay, you said maybe 5. As you project out, it looks like it'll take 11 wins, doesn't it, to get in?
Depends on the tie.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think we're still a little
When you
bit.
look at
I
the
think
number
we're
of
still a
teams
few
that are
weeks
already
away.
sitting at 5,
Yeah.
I think there'll be. There's not going to be 7 teams with 11 wins, though.
well, it
I
took
don't
11
think so.
last year, didn't it?
Did it?
I don't think
No,
so.
I don't think
No,
See
I
who
don't
was
think
the last
so.
team in?
Well, the Jags
year.
won their division
Wasn't
with
it the
9
Jets?
wins.
Well, yeah, no, I mean the
wasn't it
wild
the
cards.
Dolphins?
Last year, the 7th seed in the AFC. Get out of here, Ad. 7th seed in the AFC was
The Dolphins.
No, they didn't make the playoffs. The
No.
Steelers.
the Steelers.
And what were they?
Yeah, it was the Steelers.
10 and 7?
Steelers
9
made
and
the
8.
playoffs.
They made the
last
playoffs
year?
at 9 and 8.
Oh, no, wait a second. They didn't make the playoffs.
Miami. Well, them and Miami were both 9 and 8.
Yeah.
And Miami got in at 9 and 8.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're right.
So fall
You're
back.
right. So if
was
not,
Miami?
I don't think 9's going to get in. I think it'll be 10.
Miami didn't
If
make
it's
the
10,
playoffs.
it's a race
What?
to 4. And to Jay, to your point, like if you play this defense, and Bull appropriately said, as you were describing what they have to do, Jim Tressel ball. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's what they gotta do.
But you can win that way because you have the defense, you have the punter to flip the field, and the run game, even though Chubb hasn't been there, the run game was pretty solid last week.
Yeah, I covered Tressel's teams for 10 years, and
Pretty
that's
boring.
exactly how. And I remember, I mean, this is how much football's changed. I remember when Mike Nugent was there, it was the NC State game, and they had a turnover, and they were going on a short field, and he grabbed, I forget who the quarterback was, it was Krenzel, or I don't remember now, but he grabbed the quarterback and said, hey, don't mess up our 3. And he was content to just kick field goals and play defense, kick field goals and play defense. Obviously, Kevin is a go for it type of a coach, but the principles still remain of play sound defense, don't turn the ball over, slowly wear them down field position wise to where you get possession around the 40 or so, you know what I'm saying? And it may take 2 or 3 possessions, but if you can force a turnover on defense and get a short field, if you can hold them to a couple 3 and outs and slowly change field position, that's your best chance of winning. And I'm sorry to say that because I'd love to talk about going empty sets and throwing the ball all over the place, but that's just not – I mean, they're still going to go empty because they go empty all the time. But this is just – they're not going to throw the ball 15, 20 yards down the field consistently. You know, that's just not where – that's not where this offense is at right now.
A team hasn't won a Super Bowl without a decent quarterback in a long time. Now, Nick Foles won one 7 years ago. He played great in those playoffs, though. He played great.
But
we'll see if it can be done. I don't know.
I don't like looking at the one anomaly out of 15 years. Like,
Guys, I'll
the
say this, though.
The Pistons won a championship without a star player 20 years ago, so that
but-
means it can be done. Well,
I'll tell you this, though, and I think, I mean, it's there. The league is more defensive-minded now than it was even 3 years ago.
Right. But what
the
that
notion
means, Jay,
that
but what that means is that there's a lot of teams that are good defensively.
it does, but it also
And
means
they have
that
much
we're
better quarterbacks.
Right. So if now the pendulum is swinging back towards great defense, and I think it is, look at Kansas City. Kansas City's doing it with a great defense. Mahomes has been good this year, even above average, but he hasn't been Patrick Mahomes.
Favorite for MVP right now, so.
Yeah, but go look at his numbers and compare them to past
I'm
years.
just saying, he's still a favorite for MVP. Jason, real quick, and we got to let you run.
should be
You
CJ.
were next to Deshaun Watson, literally standing next to Deshaun when he was speaking at his availability. We didn't get a chance to listen. Obviously, we were on the air. I only see some of the quotes. I didn't get a chance to actually listen. How did he seem? Because it's obviously another tough setback for a guy who's been through more than really any of us can imagine over the last 2.5 years.
yeah, he was down. He was talking to some staffers before saying, I don't know if I can get through this or not. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to do this. And I thought it was good on the Browns to bring Barry out, make him available before Kevin, get this out of the way, get all the questions out of the way, to make Deshaun available today, and just get it over with. Just bring him out and get it all over with. And he was back he was in a walking boot. I think it's fair to wonder if he'd have been able to play with the ankle, if not for the shoulder. He said absolutely he could play through the ankle. We'll never know. Now that that is something they could shoot up and go ahead and try and play through, but a high ankle sprain's no joke either. But he's down, and somber, I think is the word I used earlier, and that's most fitting to me. Is sort of felt like a funeral today, being in the locker room and talking to him, because he was really down, and it's very difficult to have the Deshaun Watson conversation. Every time you say everything he's been through, people want to shake their fist and say, he brought it on himself, and some of it is self-inflicted. But there's no question you can't look at this guy and look at the last 3 years of his life. It's been a lot. And now here we go again. Just when he starts to play well, he finally got it cooking against Tennessee, and then he hurts his shoulder the first time. And he has a monster second half against Baltimore, and now he's out for the year. So every time he starts to put it together, there's another setback. And now, from all he did mention, he thinks he could pick up a football from the sounds of things in probably 2 to 3 months. If that's the case, certainly, he'll be fine for training camp. I think we're going to go through this all over again of, is he healthy? What's the ceiling now? Is the shoulder 100%? This is another one, like we talked about with the micro tears, and there's not a lot of history with those with quarterbacks.
Right.
Well, there's not a lot of history with this with quarterbacks either. Everyone was sort of scrambling this morning to see if there was another case of a quarterback having this injury. I've yet to find one. Doesn't mean it's not out there.
I couldn't either.
But I don't know that we've come across it yet. Come across an NFL quarterback who's had this injury, let alone had this injury and came back and had success. So it's really sort of uncharted waters right now.
And the other thing, Jason, that you have to look at moving forward, obviously, is longevity. One of the things that you always worry about with a quarterback who has the run game in his arsenal is that he takes more hits. It's one thing to stand back there and be upright. It's another thing to be running at full speed and be hit by someone who else is running at full speed towards you. And, that's got to be a concern. Can he continue to play the way he has played with these injuries? Because if availability isn't there, then it's a waste.
All right, Chase.
Wait a minute. I got one question. One.
What you got?
This is off the Browns topic. I wanted to ask you about the Cavs. If they lose to Portland tonight, is it over with for JB?
They have to pay him a whole lot of money.
Man, why you gotta do me like that, Tyvus? No, I don't. No, I'm gonna say no. But the room's getting warm in Independence. The furnace is turning up. I do think that.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
But I don't think it's tonight.
It wasn't a wholesale
All right, I'll see you guys Friday.
Yeah. By the way, Mahomes' numbers, for the record, Mahomes' numbers are down from last year a little bit.
Yeah.
But his last year, you guys always bring up his year with Tyreek Hill. His numbers are really not down from 2021, which was his last year from Tyreek Hill.
What are his touchdowns and interceptions?
His
17 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
It's irrelevant because Coleridge
He's
Stroud
on
is
pace
winning
for
MVP.
about the same. His
17 and 8?
His interceptions are a little high, but he had 15 interceptions in 21, so he's right around the same pace.
Yeah,
And his
eye test, he doesn't scare me like he used to.
Actually, his completion percentage is the best it's ever been, best of his career.
The MVP is
Well, that
going.
means
The
he's throwing a lot
MVP
of
this
short
season
passes.
is going to Coleridge Stroud.
Stop it.
I wouldn't bet you money on that.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet my, but you know what? He's in the race.
Listen.
He's in the conversation.
They make the playoffs, and he throws
Here's
about 2 more game-winning drives.
Here's the bottom line for the Browns. Who cares about C.J. Stroud? Here's the bottom line for the Browns.
Coleridge to you.
I don't give a shit.
I care.
Here's the bottom line for the Browns. They have a very good team besides quarterback. We all know that. If they have to, they can't win. They can't win a Super Bowl with the way P.J. Walker and DTR have played.
Absolutely not. No.
Let me just finish my point. Sorry, you agree with me. Then you chime in. However,
absolutely not. I don't think anybody would ever say they could.
However, that's why you play DTR, because P.J. Walker has no upside, 0. P.J. Walker has no business playing in the NFL.
Phil.
He's not an NFL quarterback. But if DTR can play 75%, and it's a big ask, and I don't think it's going to happen, but if he can play 75% of what Brock Purdy did last year, then the Browns still have a chance.
Oh, hell yeah.
But they absolutely, and I don't care what Jason says, I don't care what Tyvus says, and I don't care what Leroy says, they absolutely should bring in a quarterback that at some point could give them the potential to be better and play at that. These quarterbacks the anomaly quarterbacks that have won over the years, have not been the worst quarterback in the league. They've at least been serviceable. If the Browns can get serviceable quarterback play, they can win. They can't with terrible quarterback
The
play.
only person that disagreed with you is Leroy.
Yeah, Bull,
we all agree with your
what you
statement
just
there.
said.
I know, I'm out of pocket.
No, you're not out of pocket. I think
Fired up at Leroy, that's all.
But your statement of they can't win a Super Bowl with the play that they've had at quarterback so far, minus Deshaun Watson,
Right.
I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
They've got 1 touchdown and 8 picks between the two of them.
They can't have it.
That's not bad.
DTR
That's
at least,
awful.
DTR at least gives you some hope. PJ Walker, there's no hope.
If they don't go get a veteran, I'm not talking about scrap heap guys. I'm not talking about practice squads. See, when you want to drill down on stuff, actually tell yourself like this, man. PJ Walker cannot read defenses.
Yes, he can.
He predetermines. He predetermines who he's throwing.
That's why he
the football
throws
to.
so many picks.
That's why he throws so many picks. He does not have the processing quickness to do it. In crunch time, he's good in the first couple quarters. In crunch time, when he doesn't know who's coming, he's throwing the ball. That's why he goes off helmets, because he's predetermining where he's throwing it. Second of all, you're a rookie quarterback. When you got a rookie quarterback, you know what rookie quarterbacks do? They get fooled a lot. It's just part of the game. And we can mention the Tressel ball, but here's the thing. It's not the same correlation. Jim Tressel did what? He started fifth-year seniors and guys who have been around.
And he had the best talent in football.
Not rookies.
His offensive line was a steel line.
So Craig Krenzel, all these guys, Beckman, they wouldn't even start. When you played for Tressel, you had to be 45 before you got on the field. The problem is this. You have an opportunity to do something. Inaction is not acceptable. And for anybody, Andrew Berry, you know good and well what you have in that room is not cutting it. So all that rigmarole, and here's the thing, I'm going to just be truthful. It's a lot of people around here that have been waiting way longer than they've been here. I've been waiting for years to get to where we going to go. And just because somebody feels like they're going to be inactive or they feel what's better, no. I'm not giving you no time of day for that noise. You don't got time like that. There's people in graves that wanted to see this team win and play well. And we still, every single year, when it come down to the get down, everybody's punting. No, we don't need this person. We don't need to go get that person. How is it your job as a general manager to always tell me what we don't need? So, no, I'm not hearing what you're saying. You got guys, and by the way, what I was trying to say about DPJ is if you got rookies and young guys, help them the hell out. So you got rid of a guy that they practiced throwing the ball to all year. Yeah. They're down a receiver. Now you telling me you won't even go get a veteran to be able to come in and say, DTR, when they get in that coverage, this is what they running. DTR, this is how we do audibles. When you see this, this is happening. You're going to have Deshaun Watson, he's emotionally distraught right now. How is he going to be able to help PJ Walker and these guys?
If they sign Kellen Mond or some
how is he helping?
Slappy like that, I'm going to be pissed off.
If it's not about the money, if it's not about the draft picks, if it ain't about the capital, it's about your ego. You know you messed up. Go fix it.
100%. G's 100%,
Golf
right?
clap for G. Bush.
Tyvus is out of pocket. Leroy's out of pocket.
How about
Earl's spinning shenanigans on Twitter.
Wait a minute.
You're out of pocket, all of you.
What did I do?
Because you're
you
saying
want to hold pat
these
too.
two slappies they got.
You want to hold pat.
I don't know what I got with DTR. Or excuse me, because I want to give the man a chance.
But you have to have a backup plan.
I said I'm with you. That is Leroy that's telling you not to go get nobody. I said,
so you
yes,
should call
go get somebody. Cool, that's cool. But I'm rolling with DTR for right now. That's what I said.
I cannot have PJ Walker play another game for this team.
Why?
Because he's the worst quarterback I've ever seen in my life.
He wins.
Sorry, second worst. Johnny Manziel.
He wins.
I wonder if Jason knows something because he said, I know that there's a report out there that DTR is starting, but, so he kind of didn't dismiss it, but he's not ready to say that this is the way they're going.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's interesting to me
Josina
because
Anderson also tweeted it out now.
Good, because I got to tell you, if they were to go with B.J. Walker,
oh my God,
I couldn't watch. I wouldn't be able to watch that.
Why?
I do want to
because I've watched enough.
You don't want to watch winning. You don't want to watch the Browns.
Time to stop
One
it.
touchdown,
Time to stop it.
5 interceptions for your boy Phillip.
Jay, I want to pull up a tweet here real quick. Greg Newsom just tweeted this out.
Crazy, bro.
Greg Newsom just tweeted this out 2 minutes ago, and it's getting a lot of traction. He just wants everyone to know right now.
Yes.
There you go.
Jump off.
I love that.
There you go.
You will regret it. Michael Woods.
I'm telling you,
echoed
The
another
defense has got
sentiment
to put
similar.
the team on its back. The defense
I'm
has got to
telling
put
you,
the team on
Greg
its back.
Newsom's tweet just energized. It's 13% now.
You know what energized me? Is when I see that Denzel Ward will be playing in this
Guys,
game.
that's boy, we
Yeah, they
need
need
him.
him.
We need him.
Be nice.
We're banged up right now. It's not just you
it'd be
put
nice
up
to
the
have
graphic,
DeJuan Jones
Mike,
back, too.
that showed the guys that we've lost for the
Is
season.
he not playing this week?
And that doesn't even
Conklin,
include
Chubb, and Watson.
And
Bro,
Jakeem Grant.
that sounds like a funeral, but I'm not there. I'm with Greg Newsom.
DeJuan Jones, I don't know if he's playing this week. They could use him back.
I see Michael Dunn got off
But you know what?
IR.
But
he
the
didn't get off IR. He was designated
Designated
Yeah,
to return.
that's right.
He got, 3 weeks or something like that?
I'm not throwing in the towel. I'm just not.
Nobody should throw
I
in the
love
towel.
this defense.
You're
I love this
6-3,
defense.
And you've been playing.
That's
You done
right.
played, what, 3 games
And I
without Deshaun?
can't
But
give this
on
team
the
a
same
1%
time,
chance or a 3% chance.
We can't stand pat. You can't stand
Yes.
pat. The Browns have to do something. I think we all understand. There's no sure thing answer out there.
No.
We don't. They could sign Nick Foles. They could sign Matt Ryan, and
They
those
could
guys
come in
may
and
be
suck.
terrible.
Right.
But you can't just bring in Kellen Mond and a guy like
You
that.
can't have a
better not-
gentleman's punch.
It better not
as
be
G
Kellen
calls it.
Mond.
You've got to get active, and you've got to bring somebody in here to make up for the fact that you had somebody that was here. And Jason said earlier, look, none of us complained at the time. Well, guess what? It's
not our job.
That's not our job.
No.
It's not our job to
No.
assess the backup quarterback and see, is DTR ready for the league? Or we couldn't have projected that Josh Dobbs
right.
was going to be pretty good. That's their job.
And I don't think it makes us hypocritical.
To question that.
It would make us hypocritical if we now pretended that we didn't like it then.
You're right.
That would make us
But we
hypocritical.
were ambivalent to it.
That's right.
I mean,
I'm upset at Deshaun. Because he got hurt and he's out for the season, I won't get the belt in true and false today.
Yeah, well, we'll give it to you on default if it makes you feel any better.
No, I don't want it that way.
Well, did you win it last time?
No, I think Bull did.
Okay, so then Bull keeps it.
Bull.
Sorry.
We got to do something.
And-
rules,
but
man.
you could do
the house rules.
and people get my passion confused about like I'm bashing the Browns or nothing. I'm saying that the Browns gonna win this game in Pittsburgh here in Cleveland
Well, you're
against
just
Pittsburgh.
bashing the GM, which is deserving.
Well, what I'm saying, he still has opportunity to do something.
go.
This team is good enough to beat anybody. They just showed you that. We always go to the Guardians. It's different sports. When the Guardians was winning, they was right there. Tito's like, yo, let's make a move. Let's do something. Let's be in the mix.
And they sold.
And they didn't do anything.
No, they did.
They
sold.
sold.
They sold.
They said, no, we're sellers. Two games out of first place.
That defense and that team is playing, telling you we believe in what we got.
Yeah.
Just give us a little help, just as a contingency plan.
And to your point on Donovan Peoples-Jones, no matter what you thought of him, technically the Browns sold at the trade deadline.
Yes, they did.
Technically, a minor sell.
You're right.
Not to the level of the Guardians, but they sold. They didn't add.
Now, I'm not going to revisit that because I was applauding
No,
the
it's
move.
not a- it's not
now,
a
I know
huge-
in hindsight sometimes is 2020, and I get that, but look, the guy, we all watched what he was giving this team. It was nothing.
All right, but here, let me ask you guys this. So we're all going to be happy if they go sign a Nick Foles, a Matt Ryan, or somebody like that. We'll all be cool with that, right?
Yeah.
We're all going to be annoyed, I think, or at least the three of us will be, if they sign a slappy like Kellen Mond.
Yeah, that's.
How do we feel? Okay, you'll be angry.
That's
I was
enough.
about to say, why you keep doing this to me?
Because you're talking out of both sides of your
You are a
mouth.
little
No, I'm not.
And on one side, you're saying, let's roll. I'm rolling with these guys.
I'm rolling with DTR.
How are we going to
is what I'm
feel
saying.
if they do go the Malik Cunningham route?
Yeah.
An unknown quarterback who's got some upside, but he's a rookie just like
It doesn't
DTR.
fill the veteran role.
Would it-
I mean, I want
No.
somebody in here that can talk to DTR.
So you're
during,
only happy if it's a veteran. If it's a veteran that has had some success at some point. At
If
least-
they
I would
sign-
prefer that. I'm
That
not
would-
going to say I'm only happy if,
Right.
because let me see who they bring in, and then
Sure.
I'll revisit it. But my preference would be give me a guy that even if he's not going to put his cleats on the turf,
Right.
he can stand next to DTR when the defense is on the field and say, "Look, bro, this is what they're doing. They're
Yeah.
giving you a look to try to confuse you. Don't look at this safety."
Yeah.
He needs somebody like that in his head.
even if it's a lower tier guy like a Trevor Simeon,
I don't want
who's
to-
been in the
I
league.
mean,
Are
I
you
would
okay
take
with that?
I would take
fine.
Trevor
I
Simeon.
mean, he was in training camp with the Bengals.
Look-
AJ McCarron's on the Bengals practice squad.
I
right
would.
now. He
I would.
plays
ta-
the
I
league.
would take.
God,
that.
is he really?
Yeah,
He's still.
I didn't know he was still
he
around.
picked him up a couple of weeks ago to the practice squad.
And where's Andy Dalton?
He with the
He's
Panthers.
on the roster.
Oh, he's not on a practice squad.
No.
I-
He's Carolina.
If
He's
they
the
get
backup.
Malik Cunningham
Malik Cunningham has got a lot of upside.
Hey, real quick, guys.
Which is why I don't think they're.
Huh?
We got a practice injury update real quick before we got super chats here. But we just talked about guys who may be back, may not be back.
Yeah.
Not practicing today.
Oh, my
and
God.
once again, it's Wednesday. It's still early in the week, but not practicing. Wyatt Teller with an ankle injury.
That doesn't matter. He's going to play.
Juan Thornhill with a calf.
He's
It's something
out.
we're monitoring.
I thought
He
he
may or
was
may
out.
not play. DeJuan Jones not practicing today. And Marquise Goodwin still out with a concussion.
My guess is the Teller thing is a veteran day off.
Yep.
Yeah, they do that often with
There's
offensive
no way that
linemen.
guy's not playing unless his ankle's broken.
DeJuan
And even then he might play.
But
I
if
agree
they
with you,
sign
Bo.
Malik Cunningham, then I'm telling you right now,
Got-
I joke about it, but it's got to be black and mobile.
He is black.
Well, he
and
fits the
mobile.
bill.
That's my point.
Yeah.
If
okay.
they take him
That should be a
over all
song.
these other options,
What's that song?
then I'm right.
Black and mobile.
Well, that's-
black and
I mean,
mobile.
Right and dirty.
He fits the suit.
It's white and
That's
nerdy.
what the
Weird Al
offense is built for
Yankovic.
right now.
Yankovic.
I just think. Go
Wait,
ahead,
that
McNuggets.
sounded like some remix of a Bone Thugs and Harmony song.
There
boy.
you go.
Weird Al Yankovic.
Weird Al Yankovic.
Hey, we got a
Because of
bunch of
white
super
nerdy.
chats today, so let's get
Before
our
you do,
super
Mike.
chats in. Bo, what's up, Bo?
Malik Cunningham, for what it's worth, in college.
Is he a rookie?
Okay.
He was a monster. He was
Is
a
he a
Lamar
He was
Jackson
on
2.0.
he had good passing numbers, but let me give you some of these rushing numbers.
He was a freak.
In his senior year, he missed some games, but he averaged. What
What was he, Louisville?
At Louisville. His last 2 years there, he played 23 games, rushed for a total of 1,600 yards in 23
Is
games.
Jeff Brom still the coach there?
No, it's
Is
Scott
he
Satterfield.
Is he
Is he
a
at
rookie?
Purdue?
Jeff
Oh,
Brom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brom went to Purdue and then Satterfield
And
to Louisville.
Yeah.
if you look at rushing and
pretty
passing combined,
I think you're right.
He had 32 rushing touchdowns in his last 2 years there.
But he's
28
a
games.
rookie.
I'm just saying.
So you're going to go
so
get
is
another
DTR.
rookie to replace the rookie that
I'd
you
rather
got.
have Matt Ryan or the veteran, but I'd rather have, if I'm going to bring in a young guy, I'll bring in a guy who's got some upside and maybe could play differently. Maybe I'm doing Wildcat. I'm doing all kinds of crazy stuff to change it up and run the ball a ton. I
We
don't
will
know.
continue to monitor that, but we got to get some super chats
Yeah,
in.
go
And
ahead.
today's super chats are brought to us by PCC Air Force. Looking for a job, career advancement, and great benefits. PCC Air Force is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Air Force at Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up. Plus, full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. We got 27 of these today, so let's get to them. Simple says, there's no one way to fix this, and it's not P.J. Walker or DTR. No way the answer's on the roster. Give me Cam Newton, Nick Foles, Joe Flacco, all proven, and only have to play half a season. Give me Cam for 8 to 10 games. Skilly says, what the F is this? Why can't we have nice things? What a time to be a Browns fan. Preston Herring says, I'm not religious, but today has made me believe that hell is real because we constantly live in it as Browns fans. Steve Perry says, everybody knew whether they wanted to admit it or not. The shoulder injury was real and it was going to linger, even if he found a way to play. Not getting an insurance policy at the deadline is not only a lack of due diligence, it's a fireable offense. Michael McGee says, how can our medical stuff fluff up the shoulder injury? This
Staff.
is ridiculous.
Yeah, staff.
He said stuff. I think he meant staff. How can I'll edit this for him. How can our medical staff fluff up the shoulder injury? This is ridiculous. Deshaun needs to file for malpractice. Browns 397 says this is a different team. Have some faith, guys. Ronaldo Archer says, was Dobbs traded to protect Deshaun? Meaning they knew he was struggling and did not want the fans to chant for Dobbs by making this
No,
move.
that's
Deshaun
ridiculous.
became the only option. You guys dismissing that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Ridiculous.
John Harris says Jay loses an argument and continues to dig deep.
That's right.
ACAP
When I'm
Rocky
right, I
25
keep going,
said,
baby.
Never give
and
up.
why do we not go against KS to win
Jimmy
the
V.
QB?
Don't ever give up.
Professor K, I said at first I was afraid. I was petrified.
First I was afraid. That's
but then I
awesome.
spent
Wait,
so
who
many
was that?
nights thinking how you did me wrong.
And I grew strong.
And I grew strong.
And you know I hate this dang
along.
song.
And McNuggets.
Somebody new.
McNuggets.
I don't know any of the lyrics.
We need to
because
actually
I'm a
start
fat
doing.
and white Jew. Da, da, da.
Who sent that in? That's good.
We
That
need
was
to start
Professor
doing
Chaos.
super chat of the day and give them a prize for
That's
having
right.
the best super chat.
They get a free T-shirt.
Free shirt.
Let me talk to Steve on something we could do for that.
That
But,
was really
okay, it's a
good.
good idea.
So I'll send it to them. Y'all
Next
be
up,
slow
Derek
with it.
Spinner says, go trade for Case Keenum. He knows Stefanski.
Can't
got him.
trade.
We can't
All the
trade
red
past
tape.
the deadline.
Halim Youssef
Yeah, no
said
trades.
Dobbs said the Browns tried to trade for him at the deadline, but the Vikings got him. If you go listen to Josh Dobbs' podcast, he did say that. Michael McGee said,
And
bring in
in
Cam
fairness to
Newton.
the Browns, the Vikings' urgency was far greater at that moment than the
Give him
Browns.
a 7th-round pick.
I know.
I thought it was
I get that.
Why did the
but
Browns give the Cardinals their 5th-round pick back?
I would have gladly
Here,
done that.
take your pick back.
I don't know why the Browns didn't up the ante, but
Yeah.
again, the Vikings are where the Browns are today.
Facts.
They had to make
Yeah,
a move.
I hear you, but
And
in
the Browns
end,
were like, we're going to be good now.
they may
Deshaun's
have
back.
been desperate, but they still, in the end, only gave up a 7th-round pick.
Twice this year, they bet that Deshaun's going to be good. We don't need Dobbs. Twice they made that
but
bet.
we said, what did we say when he got hurt? He could be hurt at any other game the rest of the season.
Yeah,
we said it here.
that's it.
Rewind it if you want to. We said that. We just
right.
been saying it.
Michael McGee said, bring in Cam Newton. Our GM is worthless. John Harris said, Tom can't play because he's an owner now. William Slater said, maybe DTR can bowl off of Brock Purdy. I sure hope so.
He could sell his stake in the Raiders.
Yeah, he could get out of that.
And then
league.
get
I mean,
it back.
that's a 24-hour transaction.
And then
Hish
so we
said it's time to bring in the Messiah, TB12, to take us to the promised land, finally retire in historic fashion. Sean Newland said, get Tannehill to demand a release. He'd be the best option. Damian Frederick said, if Josh Dobbs never started in Arizona or Minnesota and was our backup, we would have felt the same way we do right now about DTR. Hindsight is 20/20 every time.
There's something to that.
Matthew Dinkus said, did anyone else see the report of Tom Brady spotted in Strongsville looking at houses? Question mark.
Don't even joke about
That's
that.
an old Cleveland lie.
Because you know somebody's going to say, hey, I was listening to UCS, and I know they said something about Brady's in Strongsville.
That's that Bill Cowher line. Did you hear about Bill Cowher?
Looking at houses.
over at Avon Lake.
UCSS can neither confirm nor deny that Tom Brady is in Strongsville right now.
Let's deny that
Justin
right
Miller
now.
said this team can win with this roster. Stick to it. Professor Chaos says, Tyvis, I appreciate the positivity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Professor Chaos also said, look up Peyton Manning's 2015 stats. They were not good. Bagzilla says, Jay, how long are you keeping the Gary Bucci look?
Wait, hold on. We got to go back to how did the hell did Peyton Manning
come up?
2015 get into this
Even
conversation?
in all our craziness, we never brought up Peyton Manning.
No,
Yeah,
he was saying Peyton Manning quarterback play that season was horrible. He got benched, but yet they still won the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, okay. I see what he's saying.
he actually
yeah,
played-
but Peyton Manning, I'm not going to put Peyton Manning in a horrible as a horrible quarterback that won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Right.
He
Give
was
me
that
a horrible
year.
Peyton Manning.
He
wasn't
was,
his
he
rookie
was
year.
that year. Yes, he was.
No,
Not
he
the
wasn't
whole
horrible.
year.
He
Not
was
the
still
whole
Peyton
year.
Manning.
Benched.
He
No,
did.
he got hurt.
He got benched, but Brock Osweiler started over him. I swear.
No.
Yeah, I think he was hurt and he could have played, but the decision to go with Osweiler
the
was
first
made.
half of that year he played really well, and then he was struggling in the second half.
Hold on, let's be clear. Peyton Manning is one of
It's still
3 or
Peyton
4
Manning.
quarterbacks that calls his own plays.
You're not comparing.
Oh, he's the sheriff.
You cannot
for sure.
compare Peyton.
Comparing P.J. Walker to Peyton Manning.
Stop.
It's not
I'm gonna
right.
move to the next one because
We
you
know that
can't do
Haslam
that.
has a relationship with Peyton. I would hire Peyton just to come in as a quarterback consultant. Work with these guys.
Phil don't
Hey, we
need
got
that.
a bunch of
He's
these left. I got to run through
6'4".
these.
All right, we got to shut up. Go ahead.
Dontavius Winston said, first off, Bagzilla says, Jay, how long are you keeping the Gary Bucci look?
Who's Gary Bucci?
I don't know. Next one, Dontavius Winston.
It's
Hindsight
No
is
Shave
2020.
November, so November 30th. Is
No
the
Shave
answer to
November.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dontavius Winston.
Who else
Hindsight is
Gary
2020. No one batted an eye when we traded Dobbs. We were fine with it at the time, so it's not fair to trash the Browns for it now.
I
It is
agree.
DT
That's
aura
true.
time. Antonio Staropoulos says if the team gets 10 wins in the postseason, Kevin deserves to be Coach of the Year. Not many coaches can deal with this level of loss.
That's true.
I said that last week, and they thought it was blasphemy.
Devoid
No,
Archangel says CJ Stroud is the MVP. I will not take this Ohio State slander bowl. Our guy Daryl says no Chubb, no Watson. Stefanski for Coach of the Year if he pulls this off. UCSS brought the heat today. Dion Flores says Indians had 1.5 starters and made a World Series. DTR and Browns can do the same. Ronaldo Archer said Berry found Ford. He found a great kicker. He found the Ohio State right tackle. So I believe DTR will be competent enough for the Browns to play 500 and win 10 games.
This
And last but not
positivity
least,
today.
I love it.
Mighty Mulatto says more often than not, AB has gotten the team through adversity with his draft choices. Let's not sleep on DTR.
That last
Wait,
statement
wait,
is
through the
very
draft
questionable.
choices.
That is
You mean
shit.
all those third-round wide receivers that he's drafted that have become big
drafts are
stars?
not-
I
very
understand what you saying.
David
The-
Bell,
the draft
Anthony Schwartz.
were shaky, but
Tillman. These guys are killing it.
Andrew Berry has been a mixed bag.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
that's a lot better than most of the previous GMs.
He's not great at
but it's
draft.
still not what you're looking for.
He might
No.
not be able to draft, but he can sign and he can trade. Boy,
Yeah, but you can't miss on third rounders. He's missed on a lot of
Josh
third
Dobbs
rounders.
traded.
What do you mean?
right now?
MJ Emerson's a third round. He's saving it right now.
I just think of Anthony Schwartz.
I think of
I
MJ
think of
Emerson.
David Bell.
I think of
I think
Alex
of
Wright.
Cedric Tillman.
Tommy Togiai.
He was a
Tommy
fourth rounder.
Togiai.
Fourth round. Thank
Go
you.
Bucks. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
Hey,
Please
he
refer-
on the practice squad
Please
right
refer
now.
to Tommy
so.
Togiai by his proper name, Healthy Scratch.
And by the way,
That will see you
That's one of the best low-key shots fired I've ever heard.